All four were swept downstream. Megan was eventually rescued, but Micah's body was found about a quarter-mile away. Megan says her grief is, quote, unfathomable, but told Fox she's thankful for the prayers she has received.
President Biden will get an aerial tour of the damage in North Carolina today. Vice President Harris will see storm damage in Georgia days after former President Trump went there. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's another big investment. It's 52 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. Eli Lilly announcing another big project at the Leap District in Lebanon.
Lilly officials say this is a $4.5 billion project. They say it's an advanced manufacturing and drug development facility called the Lilly Medicine Foundry. Company officials say this is the first time anyone has ever combined drug research and manufacturing in a single facility. This is the latest project announced for the Leap District near Lebanon.
Wish TV's Garrett Burkrist reporting. The special committee looking into sexual harassment within Indianapolis city government met for the first time on Tuesday. They're figuring out which law firm to hire to investigate the Hogsett administration.
At the end of the day, this is a human issue, a people issue, and we want to make sure that is exactly what the expertise of the firm that we contract with has.
Committee Chairwoman Krista Carlino, they plan to make a final decision at their next meeting next week. She was in a rush. That's the explanation from a woman in Delaware County who caused a fatal crash at an intersection. Police in Gaston say that Adriana Croy did not wait for oncoming traffic to clear and collided with another car, killing a person in that car. Croy was high at the time of the wreck. Indiana Task Force 1 is still in western North Carolina. The team says that they're assisting in search and rescue efforts in the foothills of the state. Fishers and Carmel are among the top 5 best small cities in America. Wallet Hub financial analyst Cassandra Happ.
The top 10 continues with Apex, Brentwood, Lancaster, Bozeman, and Westfield.
That's Westfield, Indiana. Happ says that they looked at things like housing costs, school system quality, and the crime rate. Another Colts player is headed to injured reserve. Pass rusher Tyquan Lewis is out for the time being with an injured elbow.
He's a playmaker for us. So, yeah, that one's going to be hard on us, but we'll have other guys that will step up.
Colts defensive coordinator Gus Bradley. On to our traffic coordinator, traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
You got a Kurt looking at the south side crash, westbound 465 at 31, and that is blocking the left lane, causing stop-and-go traffic back to I-65. Northbound 6570 stop-and-go from Michigan Street through the north split out to Meridian Penn. Inbound 65, crash on the right shoulder at MLK. Slow after that from 29th to 21st. Traffic sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. Tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit InvisibleFence.com today.
It's hard to keep track of all the health information that comes your way, but you still want to make the right decisions. Here's an easy one. Get tested for hepatitis C. It's a leading cause of liver cancer and often has no symptoms. People born from 1945 to 1965 are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. The good news is that now it can be cured. Talk with your doctor about getting a blood test for hepatitis C. Know for sure. A message from the CDC.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Good morning. Plenty of sunshine today. Makes for a beautiful afternoon. Today's high 70. Clear, quiet, and crisp overnight. A low down to 48. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
52 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, good morning. It is Wednesday, October 2nd. It is 6 minutes after 9 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. It was debate night last night. It's debate day today with the Kendall and Casey show. We've got Don Rainwater, who's going to join us at 11 o'clock, and we'll see how the two perform. Rob Kendall and Don Rainwater are going to go head-to-head.
Yeah, you know, Casey, Kevin may be called as an eyewitness because we are going to witness a political homicide during the 11 o'clock hour here on this radio station.
It's kind of like what we witnessed last night on TV.
Well, they'll write a book about it. It'll be called The Depancing of Donald Rainwater. But in the meantime, yes, absolutely. If you head into any post office this morning, there is probably a wanted poster of J.D. Vance for crimes against humanity as it relates to Tim Walz because, oh my gosh, Casey, he smoked him.
Yeah, it's clear to anybody that J.D. Vance won that debate, and if you hear otherwise, they are lying to themselves and they are gaslighting you. Tim Walz looked jumpy and nervous, like an alley cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
So, you know, one of my favorite movies of all time is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And Christopher Lloyd plays the villain in the movie, Judge Doom. And I guess if a movie's been out 35 years, you can spoil it for everyone.
Sure.
He turns into a tune at the end, and he has these gigantic, like, bug eyes that like pop out of his head, and that is, I mean, the whole time you're looking, I kept telling my wife, I said, he looks exactly like Judge Doom. And so much of a debate, it's a two-part in a modern society. One is the substance of the debate itself, and two is the visual that you create. And Tim Walz on visual alone, I mean, they did that split screen. So Vance is talking, and he's answering questions, and Tim Walz from that side view of him with his eyes, I mean, they looked like they were about ready to pop out of his head. You thought at any given moment, this man is going to hop across his podium and try to strangle J.D. Vance. I mean, it was so clear. Walz was incredibly nervous. He was incredibly out of his element. And I don't know if a vice presidential debate moves the needle at all. But I think you would have to look at the vision that was laid out last night, Walz's inability to articulate a vision, and J.D. Vance's clear, unwavering ability. And I say this as somebody who was very critical of Trump picking Vance, and I think in the lead up to this, Vance has had some missteps. But last night you looked at that guy and you said that could be the future of the Republican Party.
Well, and I think that's what a vice president debate should be. This is the future of the party. I thought J.D. Vance was clear. He was composed. He was concise. And he didn't say ridiculous things like Tim Walz did.
Yeah, so obviously we're going to play some audio here. I think, should we just go with do we have the line of the night that...
well, there were a couple of them.
Well, so Walz at one point, and I think he misspoke. I think he meant to say, I've become friends with the families of, children impacted by school shooters. But the reality is, when you look like Judge Doom and you get caught in blatant lies, I mean, I thought, like, you could literally see the will to live of those moderators being sucked out of their existence with every question. Like, I mean, it was like every question they were asking. And clearly, once again, they totally went into business for themselves. They totally tried to fact-check Vance, which we'll get to in a second. That was awesome. They did everything they could to tip the scales in favor of Walz, and he was so bad you could just see it. I mean, you could see, like, the blood draining out of their faces. And at one point, Walz claimed he was friends with school shooters.
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look.
There it is. But the thing is, the moderators didn't stop him and say, wait a minute, what?
Well, right, because I think they got depantsed by J.D. Vance early on when they tried to get cutesy. Do we have that clip? I mean, that was the line of the night. It's not just what he said, but it's how he handled it. Because what J.D. Vance said in a very calm, professional manner to these moderators was, I'm not taking any more of your crap.
Yeah. So they were like addicts. Liberal moderators who couldn't help themselves but fact check J.D. Vance. And he was having none of it. He was going to speak. And he refused to accept the fake fact check and called the moderators out on it. So much so that they shut off their mic. And that's like the new debate cue for 2024. When the mics are cut, you know the moderators have lost control.
Yeah, so do we actually have audio of that?
Yep, we do. Here it is. J.D. Vance getting fact-checked and not stopping.
Thank you, Governor. And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important
we're
because
going to turn out of the
debate,
economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
the rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own leadership.
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Do you know how many ex-girlfriends that voice reminded me of? Do you know? I mean,
to make your skin crawl?
Like, I mean, she was beside herself because she had that ready to go. That statement she made, it wasn't some spur of the moment thing. She knew they were going to ask that question. She knew what his answer was going to be, and she was ready to go in the snarkiest, most condescending tone possible. And he said, responded in the best way possible, I am having none of your bull crap. These people are in this country. They shouldn't, most of them, be in this country. Here's what they're doing to this country. And she didn't have anything for it because she knew he owned her on national television.
Yeah, despite CBS announcing that they weren't going to allow live fact-checking. Instead, we're going to clarify for our viewers. That's how she worded it to get around it. I thought they were a good moment from J.D. Vance. One of the best answers that he gave, 43 seconds long. Listen to this.
Honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which of course he did. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver lower inflation, which of course he did. And then you've simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American citizens. I was raised by a woman who would sometimes go into medical debt so that she could put food on the table in our household. I know what it's like to not be able to afford the things that you need to afford. We can do so much better. To all of you watching, we can get back to an America that's affordable again. We just got to get back to common sense economic principles.
So J.D. Vance addressing things that are on everyone's mind, the economy. So I thought that was one of his better moments, one of his best moments of the entire night. And then we go to Tim Walz, and he blew it. The worst answer of the entire night. He was asked about his claim that he was in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square massacre. He says he's a knucklehead at times and that he got there that summer and misspoke about it. I believe this answer potentially lost the election for them.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
He just needed to stop talking. Just stop talking. There's no recovering from that fumble. It was so bad.
And the visual of that, and obviously you can't, I mean, the audio's bad enough, but the visual of him with the bug eyes, the wide open eyes, where he's basically looking at the moderators like, can you guys just save me?
Help me. He was giving Joe Biden 2.0.
And the problem with, first of all, the idea that you would lie about some significant thing like that and that's easily disprovable, that's bad enough. But there's so many other lies they've caught him in related to his military service. He is John Kerry. It's the same thing. And if the guy's willing to lie about blatantly obvious, disprovable stuff, what else is he willing to lie about? Now, the question becomes, and there's no doubt about it, it's not open for debate. It's not open for discussion. Almost every person other than MSNBC was admitting this last night. Vance not only won, he mopped the floor with him. Does a vice presidential debate does it move the needle? Does it change anyone's mind, or does it make anybody decide whose vote was swayed one way or another last night?
I feel like it gave people confidence who were going to vote for Trump but were a little unsure about J.D. Vance. It makes them feel better about their decision to vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah, I wonder, and I'm asking out of genuine curiosity because I don't kind of know at this point how you could actually be an undecided person. I mean, either whatever. But here is, and we got to get to a break, and I'm sure we'll get to this next hour, et cetera. But the reality is she picked a horrible person to be her vice presidential running mate because the Democrat Party is so infested with anti-Semites now that the guy who had been a home run pick for her, not just in terms of his ability to carry himself, he's a governor without much controversy, he's the swing state that they desperately need, she couldn't pick him because he's Jewish. And so because she couldn't pick this guy because he's Jewish, because the Democrats are so, the base is so wed to hatred of Jewish people, that she had to pick this guy, and she picked him because, he was a football coach and he's a white man from the Midwest. He's a disaster. He was awful. That could not have gone much worse for them.
I really wonder when people are going to just enough with the media, with the Democrats in the media. Think about this. They had the media saying for them, oh, yeah, the border's secure. We know it's not secure. Inflation, it's transitory. It wasn't transitory. Biden, totally competent. The veil was lifted when he debated. And then we were told Walz is a great choice. And then last night, right before our eyes, you saw it again. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Devastation in the southeast.
93 WIBC.
I've never seen it this bad. Category 4 hurricane.
Catastrophic flooding.
Strongest storm ever to hit that area.
Another news update is minutes away.
Tropical storm Helene. Heavier rain that might cause flooding in places. Wind is the biggest concern.
As events happen,
road work is back on West Siders.
We'll happen to be there.
I-465 pavement and bridge patching is the job.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
As the summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-262-1104 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-262-1104. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Tire Discounters announces our latest breakthrough, TD Chat BS. This software allows us to detect untruths, deceptions, and even outright lies.
Let's listen in as we call a local car dealer.
Hi, I drive your model of auto or truck. I need servicing.
Oh, that's great. You should always call the dealer for service to make sure your warranty stays intact.
Untruth.
Excuse me?
I can attend at Tire Discounters for all services, even for all manufacturers' scheduled maintenance. Warranty not affected.
But it's only us dealers who really know our own models.
Deception. Tire Discounters technicians are certified experts for all makes and models.
Okay, maybe.
How many dollars do you charge me for? As few as Tire Discounters?
We are not that much more.
Outright lie. Ending call now. Bye.
No,
Adios. Aloha. Hasta la pasta.
Right now, save up to $250 on Cooper tires, and Shocks and Struts are buy 3, get 1 free.
18 years ago, Tom and Sarah Joyner started Joyner Homes in Greenfield, and to date, they've built hundreds of homes across central Indiana. The homes they build are different than the cookie-cutter houses you see today. They build homes that have the character like the homes of yesterday, but have modern features, character-rich features, exposed wood beams, stone fireplaces, custom build-ins, and smart design. Building a new home doesn't have to be a headache. Joyner Homes will build you a truly unique, beautiful home. Visit JoynerHomes.com.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Here's great news, Indy. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer no payments until 2026 for qualified buyers. Call Rhino Shield at 888-RHINO-41.
Yesterday, we had a little conversation about Mike Braun's ad and how it was digitally altered and it was missing a disclaimer. They corrected that. They put the disclaimer on. But this morning, woke up and saw that they changed that same ad again. They took out the digitally altered photo, put in the regular photo, and then removed the disclaimer again.
This is... I mean, just I would love to have a candid conversation with the people running the show over there about what they're doing, because usually I can see what someone's doing and go, okay, that makes sense to me because fill in the blank. I have seen, I'm not going to tell you whose, but I've seen internal poll numbers. They generally match what Abdul's poll said, which generally match what the Emerson poll said. Now, we can get around the margins. Is Rainwater at 9? Is he at 6? Or, what is Braun at 44? Is he at 46? Whatever. The reality is, McCormick, in all of these polls, the legitimate ones, I'm talking about these ridiculous Democrat polls that were basically push polls, is somewhere between 37 and 38%, which means she's not anywhere close because Rainwater is not going to pull any more than probably 7% in this election, which means Braun is up somewhere between 7 and 10 points probably. And yet for some reason, instead of just running simplistic ads, because McCormick has no money and no ability to compete, so instead of just running simplistic ads that will run across the state of Indiana in which he's looking into, which he finally did. He finally did what I've been begging them to do from the beginning, which is just run an ad where you're looking into the camera, telling people what you're going to do. With his wife, which is airing now. You're welcome, by the way. I should just start a consulting business, Casey.
Well, okay, that's what I wanted to bring up because we were talking about the negative ad with the digitally altered photo, which is now not digitally altered anymore, that didn't have a disclaimer, then did have a disclaimer, now doesn't have a disclaimer. And you had said, you know what? Just put out a simple ad where you talk about property taxes.
And what'd he do?
Yesterday, after we got off the air, he released a new ad where he is sitting at the kitchen table with his wife, and they are discussing his plans to lower energy costs, cut property taxes, and also improve schools.
Success didn't come right away for Mike. We spent a lot of time at our kitchen table trying to figure out how to help our kids get ahead and thinking about what comes next.
We all want a better future for our kids and grandkids, and it will be my top priority to make things better for you. Lower energy bills, cut property taxes, and improve our schools. Together, we can get it done.
Mike Braun, lower costs, strong leadership, the clear choice for governor.
So many people just want their politicians to just be normal, address the problems, and just be normal. In that ad, he came across as that.
I am in the wrong business, Casey, because people keep taking my stuff and I make no money working here. And these political consultant people make fortune. Look, it's a 55-40 state. Just being a Republican, unless you do something egregious like Richard Murdoch did in 2012, you're going to win. You didn't need to go negative against her. Let people like us talk about the negatives of Jennifer McCormick, about how she's a public education radical, about how she's an on-demand, abortion advocate. I mean, these things are out there. Jennifer McCormick's so disingenuous. She claims she couldn't remember who she voted for president in 2016. That woman doesn't have a legitimate bone in her body. She always morphs into whatever room she's in, and people see through that. And yet they being Braun, this needless controversy with this ad, which it doesn't matter. People want to know about you, and people want to know, if I elect you, what is your mandate going to be to fix some of these issues? And that it speaks to that. He should just run those ads. It's fine. She has no chance to win unless you give her avenues by which then the media hopped all over this going, Braun is potentially violating this new disclaimer law. And
now that's soaking up all the headlines. It's much more inspiring to vote for somebody that you think is going to do something for you, not how they're attacking their opponent.
Right. I mean, it's like in this debate coming up with Rainwater, where poor Rainwater. I feel bad for him.
We have his ad. Would you like to play it?
Oh, sure. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the Don Rainwater ad.
My name's Donald Rainwater, and I'm running for governor of the state of Indiana. I'm running because I believe that you know best how to make the decisions for you and your family. Together, we can take our state back. Indiana deserves better government, not bigger government. I'm running because I value your liberty and your freedom. I'm Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message.
Okay, so he talked about, he values me, my liberty and my freedom. But what is he going to do about any of the problems within the great state of Indiana?
Well, right. And, of course, nobody will see the ad because he has no money. So it's not like it's going to go anywhere. But
that's an internet ad.
The point of it is to say, look, if you're Braun, I am running for these things. When I am elected, here is what I will do. And so then when you go in the polling place in a 55-40 state where the default generic number is that in favor of the Republican, people go, okay, I'm voting for Mike Braun to fix property taxes. I'm voting for Mike Braun to create universal school choice where I can send my kid where they can get the best education. I'm voting for Mike Braun to help with energy price. All of those things. He got it right, but we shouldn't have to. Why do we always have to tell people, Casey? Why? All right, Jim Merritt is going to join us next.
Yeah.
The governor's debate is tonight on Fox 59 CBS 4. That'll be Braun and McCormick. Rainwater and I are debating
today
at 11 o'clock today. So we'll get into, what do we expect tonight? Can she create a Murdoch moment for Mike Braun that gives her some sort of puncher's chance?
Jim Merritt joins us next on 93 WIBC.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Arguing over the economy. It's sunny and 53 on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. The first and only vice presidential debate last night. Democrat Tim Walz blasting Trump, accusing him of forgetting about the middle class.
Teachers, nurses, truck drivers, whatever. How is it fair that you're paying your taxes every year and Donald Trump hasn't paid any federal tax in the last 15 years?
Republican J.D. Vance says Trump's economic policies help the middle class.
Donald Trump's economic policies delivered the highest take-home pay in a generation in this country, 1.5% inflation, and to boot, peace and security all over the world.
The search goes on for survivors in North Carolina towns devastated by flooding from Hurricane Helene. FEMA rescue teams from around the country are helping the North Carolina National Guard locate people stranded in the flooded mountain towns in the western part of the state. Indiana Task Force 1 among them. Major League Baseball reporting its average attendance grew in consecutive years for the first time in over a decade. Games throughout the regular season averaged over 29,000 per contest. Your opening bell report on 93 WYBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. We're mixed to start the day. The Dow was up 14 to 42,493. The NASDAQ is down 35 to 19,939. And the S&P 500 is down 10 to 5,749. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
You don't have to keep living with that joint pain. Tony Katz here, and real lasting relief is possible with help from QC Kinetics. People are getting their lives back, getting their mobility back. Thanks to QC Kinetics, they're the nation's leader in cellular therapies that can revitalize your joints. Advanced regenerative medicine, people. So it's utilizing your body's own healing properties. They're highly concentrated. They're placed into your achy joints. The back pain, the shoulder pain, the knee pain, gone. These are cutting-edge treatments. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. And a lot of you're not getting that problem taken care of because you're afraid of missing time at work. That's not the deal with QC Kinetics. These protocols developed by medical professionals and under the leadership of Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a former orthopedic surgeon and a pioneer in clinical regenerative medicine. You owe it to yourself to learn more. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and in Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Research shows smoking costs Indiana businesses $3.1 billion every year. It also shows that an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes would drastically reduce smoking, which could save lives, create jobs, and infuse the state of Indiana with hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Read the reports from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation at thepriceofsmoking.org and see for yourself how an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes can have a positive impact on Hoosiers.
Are you concerned about rising gasoline taxes? I'm Donald Rainwater, Libertarian candidate for governor. Hoosiers currently pay sales tax and excise tax on gasoline to the state. No one should pay two taxes for gasoline. So my plan is to abolish the gasoline excise tax in Indiana. To learn more about my plan to make Indiana government less taxing, go to rainwaterforindiana.com. My name is Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message. Paid for by Rainwater for Indiana.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Go now to bwindow.com and receive $400 off per window and $250 off any patio or entry door, plus 2.99% financing.
Tonight down on Union Street, I'm thinking back, baby, you and me.
So the big governor's debate is tonight. fact, there's a governor's debate about an hour and a half from now.
Yeah, for you.
What do we
Are
make
you
of-
running for governor?
Boy, people wish, don't they? This is the Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Look who it is. Oh, my goodness. The most beloved man in all of Indiana politics and government. 30 years in the Indiana Senate, the great Jim Merritt. Hello.
Robert, how are you?
Well, I'm good. So tonight, McCormick and Braun are going to get on a stage together. CBS 4, Fox 59 debate. We'll get to me and Rainwater here in a second. We were talking about this on State House Happenings. I think McCormick is probably a little upset that Rainwater is not on that debate stage because she needs every gun pointed at Mike Braun. And let's face it, Rainwater is only going to be pulling votes from Braun.
Rainwater takes no votes from the Democrats.
Right.
And will can potentially take him from Braun.
And he's on basically a suicide mission, which is he's whether he's at 7 or he's at 9 or by the time I get done with him at 11 o'clock, he'll be at 2 by the time I get done with him. But point is he's got nothing to lose and he knows where his votes can come from. If you're McCormick, you're disappointed he's not up there.
Absolutely, and he takes a lot of the air out of the room if he's there on the stage, and we'll see him later on the stage with the other two candidates. Donald Rainwater, when I was co-hosting with you, we had him in, and he had a very simple property tax reform proposal that has been debunked since, but he came up with it, and you drove that issue. Braun and McCormick both have their own programs, and hopefully we'll hear something about those suggestions they're offering for reform for next session of the General Assembly.
So we talked about this on State House Happenings, and I think the Braun campaign has been very underwhelming from the standpoint of you've had such an opportunity to pick 2 or 3 central issues. It's a Republican state. Trump's winning overwhelmingly at the top of the ticket. All you got to do is pick 2 or 3 kind of universally respected issues, which is, hey, we got to fix property taxes. We got to have universal school choice. And pick another one and just run on those. And then when you get elected with 51, 52% of the vote, then you say to the General Assembly, here's my mandate. Here's what the people said. Fix these things. But, man, those ads he's run, I mean, that unforced error on the digital altering of McCormick, I mean, it's not going to cost him the election because people are not going to turn the state over to a radical like Jennifer McCormick. But, man, what are they doing?
Well, it's hard to tell because you see one ad where his wife Maureen and Senator Braun are talking to the camera, and it's a wonderful ad. It hits on all the issues that people are concerned about, and then they have the unforced error. And I like to think that Senator Braun is trying to campaign for governor, but he also has one foot in Washington D.C. and he doesn't have time to elaborate over all these campaigns. So shame on the campaign team. That this is happening, and they didn't, and it's quite complicated exactly what actually happened. But in regards to running for governor and serving, not only you're running for votes to become governor, you're running for a mandate that you can take to Indianapolis, to the State House in 2025, and say to the supermajorities, which are not going away, this is what I ran on. This is what I believe, and this is how I feel that we should handle the next 4 years, and I'm here to lead.
Yeah, Jim Merritt's our guest. We're talking about tonight, the governor's debate. Jennifer McCormick, Mike Braun will be the only two on the stage. Merritt, there's part of me that kind of wishes, we're honest with each other, just us, nobody else is listening.
No.
There's part of me that kind of wishes if I'd have known how bad a campaign Braun was going to run, should have probably just endorsed Rainwater because, I think I could have sunk the Braun campaign.
Well,
he's run let's face it, for all the resources he has, it's been a disappointing campaign so far. And when you see these unforced errors, it's like, why are you even, again, you're right. The ad with him and his wife talking into the camera, and they're talking about property taxes, and they're talking about, economy and price of things.
It's a great ad.
It's like, what planet, who came up with the ad where you're like, let's go super negative on Jennifer McCormick and let's digitally alter the thing?
I don't know who came up with that, but shame on them. And it's not going to get them any votes. The ad with Maureen, it will get votes. It's a softer side, but it has the issues in it. And for the next 30 days or so, they ought to pound that on. You just continually
repetitiously have that ad on the airwaves. But the bottom line here is that this is the opportunity to not introduce yourself, but introduce how you feel about the issues, how you're going to lead. And that's what campaigns are all about. And I think Abdul's poll that we talked about is all federal issues, the first 3 or 4 issues that governors don't handle. And it's time for Senator Braun to come out and say, I'm going to be your governor. This is what I'm going to work for.
All right, Jim Merritt's here with us. So the other debate is taking place. By the way, McCormick's got to try to get him in some sort of Murdoch moment, right? I mean, the only chance she's got is Braun says something really, really stupid.
Well, yeah, and candidates that make errors lose votes. There's no question about it. And I'm confident Senator Braun's going to do well in the debate.
Okay, so the other debate is at 11 o'clock today. It's me. It's Rainwater.
Everybody tune in.
Well, Don's got some issues, and I love Don, but the problem with the Libertarians is, and part of it is they don't have the relevance for people ever actually spend resources to challenge them on something. He's got this property tax plan, which is like 7% sales tax on the price of your home. And then in the lieutenant governor's debate, his Tanya Hudson or whatever her name is, who was like a character out of Saturday Night Live at that debate. I mean, she is that was awful. She got kind of pressed on, okay, well, like, what does that look like downstream revenue for local governments? There's clearly a formula right now on how it works and whatever. And she basically said, well, and she didn't use this exact term, but you're led to believe it's like Hunger Games. They'll just fight it out over whatever the revenue is. And it's like, this is not how we run a society, okay? We all agree property taxes need reform. We all believe the property tax system is crap. But you can't just be like, yeah, we'll just figure it out later. It'll be fine.
In her sense, she was probably saying defund the police in a different way. But you know, just to step back a little bit, it was the right thing to endorse Braun in your stead, number one, because he has been a good U.S. senator, number one. Two, the property tax issue that he came on, his proposal, you agreed with, and I did too. But I think it needs a lot of work, and it's the details that are important in regards to this. But Donald Rainwater was never going to win this campaign.
I wasn't even going to be competitive.
And for your endorsement of him was you're throwing away your vote.
Well, and my thing with the Don is, okay, so first of all, the Libertarians, they never raise any money. Right. I mean, they there's no infrastructure like of any sort of something you would say, okay, that you can go out and have the ability statewide to knock on doors or any of that. And it's just like, what are we doing here? My problem with Don is he gets away thrown out without these, and this comes from somebody who was in local government, who actually cut property taxes every year and knows the difficulty of the formulas and figuring out the work it takes to be able to do that. He throws out these things about the 7% sales tax with no numbers. There's no numbers. His lieutenant governor couldn't even begin to articulate what it would look like after that. So at 11 o'clock, I'm going to lay out how we actually get out of the property tax game. I'm going to lay it out with actual numbers. I'm going to lay it out with the plan that there's actually beginning to be support for in the State House. This is how a legitimate professional candidate articulates positions. Am I being just too much of a candidate snob by being upset that Don doesn't do any of that?
No, what Rainwater got what, 2020?
11.5%.
There were a lot of mad people during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And
there should have been.
And he was he was kind of the reciprocal.
Yeah.
And he really he was able to capitalize on a terrible situation in the state in 2020, and he was a recipient of all that anger, and so he doesn't have that this time. The Libertarian Party is unorganized, disorganized, and Braun's going to win going away.
That being said, he being Rainwater, this is crap that he's not allowed to debate tonight.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's the mothership of Fox 59 that won't allow it. But it's a shame because Donald Rainwater he qualified for the ballot, and he ought to be on that stage.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we have to be the arbiters of common sense over here, where we're like, wait a second, the guy's going to get hundreds of thousands of votes again. He got hundreds of thousands of votes last time. this guy's not some wacko party guy pulling at 1%. He's going to get 5, 6, 7%, whatever it's going to be. Why, if you're Fox 59 CBS 4, would you not say, no, this guy's got to be on the stage?
Right. And you know, obviously their corporate rules and guidelines won't it prohibits him from being there, but it would be really interesting if they would have taken some time and interviewed him at some point near the debate and put a spotlight on him so that he gets some benefit from being on the ballot.
All right, so I'm going to do some prediction here. Okay. All right. So let's just say this happens. I'm going to say it's going to, maybe prediction's the wrong word. Now, let's do some fun forecasting. All right.
Okay.
Let's say Braun wins. You know, he gets 50% of the vote. And let's say he doesn't deliver on the things he's promised on the property tax reform, whatever.
Well, it's going to have to be the House and the Senate.
Right. But he's made it. It's his thing, right? Like, he's the face of it. He could potentially be in big trouble if the signature thing, if he doesn't get that delivered, right? I mean, like, he could get primary challenged. He could, he could be in big trouble if he made these big pronouncements and then this time next year, I double, triple the property tax bill.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about ifs.
Yeah.
And the legislature will not let the governor take the fall. There will always be. It's important for the legislature, those 150 people, for the governor to be successful.
If he does fail, and I could raise $3 million. I mean, I got to probably run for governor, right? I mean, just for the fun?
Well, first of all, Braun will be well funded.
I think I could raise $3 million.
Well,
I think I could do it.
He can triple that. And he can.
Oh, boy.
He can.
That would be great. How much rich Republican money can we waste, Eric?
The Republican Party, he will start having fundraisers probably right around Thanksgiving for re-election in 4 years.
That's what I'm running for. If I run, how much rich Republican money can I waste?
Well, you will bring out people, no question about it. Yeah, you will. But he will be well funded in the 2028.
Yeah. I hope he just gets it done. Hey, you can find him on Twitter at Jim_Merritt, at Jim_Merritt, and Merritt in the Morning. It's a very fabulous
we
podcast.
Have Donald Rainwater.
Oh,
tomorrow.
Timely, very good. All right, you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
$16,500. That's $16,500.
Is that what you make an hour, Casey?
I wish. That's how much money it could cost the average American couple every single year if the Social Security Trust Fund runs out of money.
Now, multiply that by 10 years. Or 20 years, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, this is why it's critical you have the right strategy to file for Social Security.
Discover how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, that's your retirement guy in Indy.
We know and trust Bill, and guess what? You can too.
Oh, it's my turn to talk. That's why I'm going to tell you, if you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912.
This free analysis could help you wring every nickel out of your benefits that are rightfully yours.
Call 317-932-9912, 317-932-9912.
Hammer and Nigel show this afternoon. We'll play back some of the highlights and lowlights of that debate last night, plus a lot of laughs. We like to have fun.
This November, Indianapolis will play host to one of the most prestigious culinary competitions in the world, the World Food Championships. From November 8th through the 12th, the city will welcome over 300 cooking teams, battling in 12 unique food categories.
All of this is going down at the Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion. It's inside the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Food samples, cooking demonstrations, celebrity chef appearances, family fun zone, and more. To learn more or buy tickets, visit worldfoodchampionships.com.
Attention all Hoosiers, a historically important election is headed our way. The time to prepare for the election is now. Are you registered to vote? Do you have a plan to vote? The Indiana Secretary of State's office wants to remind you, registering to vote or updating your registration is fast, easy, and can be done online at indianavoters.com. You must be registered 30 days before Election Day, so get registered and get out to vote. This message is sponsored by the Indiana Secretary of State's office.
Guys, if you notice a lack of energy and drive, it could be low testosterone. Get your levels checked at Low T Center. They have over a decade of experience helping patients with testosterone therapy, or TRT. For established patients, they offer the convenience of physician-monitored at-home TRT with advanced treatments that include lab testing and medication. It's an optimized personal treatment plan. Low T Center ships to your door. LowTCenter.com now to book your appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Community Health Network cares for your heart health. From heart scans and vascular screenings to complex heart procedures, you can count on our expert team for the highest quality cardiovascular care, when and where you need it. Your path to a healthy heart starts with knowing your risk. Schedule a heart scan or vascular screening today. Visit ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care. Simply delivered.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Would you like fries with that? Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
A list of Sean Combs' alleged accomplices is set to be revealed in the next coming days, weeks, months. This, according to a lawyer. This guy is based out of Houston, and he said that there will be multiple lawsuits coming from multiple places. 120 people are planning to sue Sean Combs.
Okay, so the question remains, how did we get nothing on Epstein?
Right. How come this list is going to be revealed, but Epstein's list is still under lockdown?
Do you think there will be any mega names?
That's what they're alluding to, that some of these are household names and they will be explosive.
Well, I mean, interesting if true. But didn't we hear that about Epstein? Didn't we hear about all the famous people that had taken flights with Epstein? And, oh, my gosh, they're going to open the books up. And, I mean, isn't it crazy that this guy was allegedly arguably the most prolific, horrific human sex trafficker in our country's history, and nobody's gone down for which he would have human sex trafficked too?
Yeah. Well, did Sean Combs say, hold my beer?
Well, right. So that's a question, right? I mean, it's no different than the Vegas shooter. Like, how did that thing go away? Things that are inconvenient for the populace, the powerful part of the populace, seem to just vanish into the ether most of the time, don't they?
Yeah. So it's just a warning, I guess, from this Busby. He's saying that no stone will be left unturned. And if anybody has skeletons in their closet, especially those who have been linked to Combs, I'm sure they're a little bit on edge right now. Here he is.
But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. And I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. They know who they are.
Mm-hmm. So if his accusations hold any weight, it could be really one of the highest profile scandals ever.
Well, and look, if there's money to be made, you know, these attorneys are going to be all over this, right? I mean, they're going to it's like blood in the water with all the money that could potentially come to these victims.
I want him to start talking, Sean Combs. And everybody seems to be talking in code about it. Why? Just let it out. Spill it.
Well, don't talk in code. Tell us what's coming up next.
We're going to talk about what happened overseas. Iran launching that missile attack on Israel.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Jennifer McCormick backed Hillary Clinton for president. And when McCormick was in charge of education in Indiana, our schools ranked at the bottom. She even opposed school choice. Then McCormick backed Joe Biden for president and supported his $1 trillion spending scheme that caused all the inflation. Now she runs for governor on a plan that would increase your energy bills, create a new Office of Environmental Justice, and ban gas stoves. Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal.
This is Mike Braun. Here's my plan for Indiana. I'll enforce immigration laws even when the federal government fails to act, keeping our streets safe and secure. And my plan lowers more costs. I'll cut property taxes, reduce energy bills, and expand parental choice and school voucher programs. Indiana needs strong leadership. We can get it done.
Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's time to get ready for spooky season by eliminating all that spooky dirt, grime, and spills. Halloween brings out the best in people, but it also brings out some pretty scary crud from all the foot traffic. How about having Zero Res help to take care of all that with a great October special? Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $129 and $75 off air duct cleaning too. That's a $40 savings on carpet cleaning. And remember, your air ducts are where the really spooky stuff is. Yikes! The Zero Res service for your carpets, floors, and air ducts is easy to line up, and you can go online at ZeroResIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. I love these folks. And don't forget the ZR Water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $129, plus you get $75 off air duct cleaning too. Call 317-388-5141 or book things online at ZeroResIndy.com.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the announcement up in Lebanon, again from Eli Lilly, plus what the Special Committee on Sexual Harassment discussed last night in Indianapolis, and a check of gas prices. John Herrick talked to the expert. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
More Israeli troops are moving into Lebanon. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. While Hezbollah keeps firing rockets across the border.
And the Israeli army confirming that a captain was killed
during an ambush this morning in southern Lebanon. We do expect the casualty rates from that incident to rise.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Haifa, Israel, the day after Iran's missile barrage. President Biden's calling Iran destabilizing and dangerous.
The president, Vice President Harris, and the national security team say they are still assessing the damage from the attack. However, so far it appears largely ineffective, especially after the U.S. helped Israel shoot down multiple missiles. While the White House insists Iran will face consequences, it's not saying exactly what those would be.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House. In the CBS News vice presidential debate last night, J.D. Vance and Tim Walz agreed the U.S. must support Israel while clashing on other issues.
Kamala Harris started and said that she wanted to undo all of Donald Trump's border policies.
Vance blaming the vice president for record illegal immigration. Tim Walz said Congress has a bipartisan solution.
Donald Trump said no. Told them to vote against it because it gives him a campaign issue.
And Walz called the former president a threat to democracy.
He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind?
They also sparred over inflation, abortion rights, and more in the last scheduled debate before the presidential election. It's another day of misery for Helene victims. The hurricanes blamed for at least 161 deaths in 6 states.
There are hundreds of people that are still missing, and search and rescue crews are out and about this morning and will be from the air and the ground. The power grid is still compromised.
Fox Weather's Robert Ray near Asheville, North Carolina. There are still more than 1 million power outages. Florida to West Virginia. President Biden will visit North Carolina today. Vice President Harris will tour damage in Georgia. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Doubling down, it's 54 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Eli Lilly announcing another big project in Boone County.
Lilly officials say this is a $4.5 billion project. They say it's an advanced manufacturing and drug development facility called the Lilly Medicine Foundry. Company officials say this is the first time anyone has ever combined drug research and manufacturing in a single facility. This is the latest project announced for the LEAP district near Lebanon.
Wish TV's Garrett Berquist, Governor Holcomb, and Senator Todd Young will be among those speaking at a groundbreaking happening now. A select committee in Indianapolis investigating sexual harassment within the city's government met for the first time Tuesday. They looked over possible law firms to investigate Mayor Joe Hogsett's handling of sexual harassment claims.
This is not something we would typically budget for at all. And of course, the severity of the claims and the very, the expertise that we want to contract with, it is going to be pricey.
Committee Chair Krista Carlino. 3 people arrested for a shooting in Logansport that injured a woman. It happened shortly after 6 Tuesday morning. The woman expected to recover. A lot of things tend to happen in cycles. That's the case for Indiana gas prices. John Herrick reports on what's coming up.
BP's Whiting, Indiana refinery now undergoing maintenance. That'll last another probably 6 weeks or so.
Gas Buddies head of petroleum analysis Patrick DeHaan says along with that, gas prices went up recently because of a price cycle that drove them up last week. But now he says they're heading down, so you should be in no hurry to fill up. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News. Training camp is off to a good start so far for the Indiana Pacers. Guard Tyrese Halliburton.
Everybody here, for the most part, knows what we do other than, some of our young guys. But they were, learning our system through Summer League. So it's less about putting things in and integrating, more about reminders and adjustments.
They open the preseason against Atlanta next Tuesday. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIPC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 2nd, 5 minutes after 10. He's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels, and let's talk about what happened yesterday when Iran launched a missile attack on Israel, plunging that war-torn region into yet another layer of conflict. So let's consider what's going on. You've got that going on over there. Here you have Americans drowning and losing everything in North Carolina. You can't afford food, gas, or rent. And now there are thousands of dock workers who are on strike withholding goods and medicine. But the important thing that you're supposed to remember is that Kamala Harris grew up in a middle-class family.
Well, the world is on fire, and we have said this before, that one of the great things, I think the thing he did better than anything else, and he doesn't get nearly enough credit for, and Vance actually touched on this last night in the debate, is Donald Trump's strength on foreign policy and the relative stability to the world, certainly, that exists compared to today. And don't kid yourself, that's because Donald Trump was president and those people fear Donald Trump. Nobody fears Joe Biden. Nobody fears Kamala Harris. And I think one of the things that we don't do great when we talk about what's going on with Israel and Iran and Hezbollah and Palestine, Hamas, et cetera, is we don't bring it back to people about how this could potentially affect you. I think a lot of people think, well, it's a world away. It's a Middle East conflict. The reality is there are two major issues that have the potential to affect you here at home. Number one is if the IDF starts going after oil fields, then you're looking at potentially a huge spike in the price of gasoline. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying it is a logical step in the escalation that you're potentially looking at skyrocketing prices for fuel, skyrocketing prices for gas, et cetera. The other side of this obviously becomes there will come a point where the U.S. is going to have to get involved because still for all the huffing and puffing and the anti-Semitism on the left, I think we still have a majority of the politicians in this country. Now, it's waning. We have a majority of the politicians in this country who still do stand with Israel, who, whether they personally stand with Israel, not from a political standpoint, they stand with Israel. And, again, the logical step becomes, at what point is the U.S. going to see military involvement in this conflict?
Right. Well, you have to wonder, did Iran do this thinking that these rockets weren't going to pass the Iron Dome? And when some of them got through, they had a, oh, no moment.
Well, I think it's sort of like pointing a gun at someone. You know, any person who is taught to responsibly use a weapon knows you never, ever point a weapon at someone if you're not afraid to use it.
Right.
You certainly don't pull the trigger if you're not afraid to use it. And so I would guess if you shot rockets at someone, you should assume that some of them are going to be used, right? I think, I was talking with somebody about this yesterday. I think Iran is a bit of a different animal because and you saw this with like Saddam Hussein, and you see this with Kim Jong-un. For all the huffing and puffing, they're afraid to die. And when you're afraid to die and someone has something to lose, you can navigate those waters. You can deal with that. They're a nuisance. They're obnoxious. They may support people you don't like. But at the end of the day, they're not going to be the one to fire the nuke, right? Because they know it's mutually assured destruction, and likely their destruction is going to be greater than what they can give you. With Iran, it's a different animal because there are so many religious lunatics that are in positions of power in that country. They have a history of instability. And what you really worry about is them, even if they don't do it directly, propping up and gaining access to nuclear weapons with people who will do the thing. And so I think there's a legitimate threat and a legitimate worry with those people about the damage that they're actually willing to do and how far they're willing to escalate things.
Donald Trump released a statement afterwards. He said the world is on fire and spiraling out of control. We have no leadership, no one running the country. We have a non-existent president in Joe Biden and a completely absent vice president, Kamala Harris, who's too busy fundraising in San Francisco and staging photo ops. So he's not wrong. The world was far more stable under his leadership. And some people will say, well, this is just political posturing. But guess what? His track record in the Middle East does support his claim.
Yeah, Donald Trump did a phenomenal job in two areas above all else. And look, there are other things that happen that you know are harder to give credit for, but like the relative compliance with which we had from Russia and Putin doesn't ever get talked about. But things that you can point to and say that was solely because of Trump. One of them was the progress on the relationship with North Korea, which has deteriorated. And the second aspect of this was the stability in the Middle East, because obviously Israel knew they had an ironclad ally in Donald Trump, and these other countries knew Israel had an ironclad ally in Donald Trump, and he was not screwing around.
And under the Harris-Biden administration, that's called into question, right? Donald Trump had a peace through strength approach. And when you couple that with his clear commitment to defend Israel, something people believe is missing today. And we just need to do a little flashback. You might remember Biden and Harris, their policy was don't.
The Iranian attacks against.
Number 14.
I wonder, what is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran? Don't come across the border. Don't escalate this war.
That's right.
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly. One word. Pretty straightforward.
I do that with Olivia all the time.
Yeah.
Don't.
And what does she do? She tests.
Yeah.
She tests you, doesn't
Right.
she?
Yeah.
And she does.
Right.
And that's what they did. They
They
did it.
And but the different, like, I mean, we're laughing about this, but the reality is you teach your kids there are consequences for their actions. So when my 15-month-old gets a stern warning on something, she's old enough to know tone, even if she doesn't know all the words, and she does it, then she's punished, right? Now, we don't spank our kids. I've always been a firm believer that you can get your kids to behave without ever laying a hand on them. I'm an example of that. I feared my father to no end, and he never, ever put a hand to me, and so we punish her. You know, we'll put her in her crib or whatever, and she doesn't like that, right? So she knows when mom or dad tell you no or don't do that or whatever in a stern voice that we're not messing around. And obviously punishments escalate over time as they learn words and they learn ramifications for their actions and things of that nature. It's the same thing here. If there's never any punishment, what did the Biden administration do? They gave Iran a whole bunch of money.
Well, that's it exactly. If you were to look at your daughter and say, no, don't, but at the same time, you're giving her a cookie or a piece of candy, that's a confusing message to the child, right? Same thing that is going with Iran. One point they say, don't. And then the other hand, here's a bunch of money to do with what you want.
These, you can say whatever you want about Donald Trump, but the reality is that strong men fear strong men. And Donald Trump was viewed by these dictators, these world leaders who were not invested in a better United States or international peace or however you want to describe it. They view him as a strong man. They view him the same way we view them. And just like with Reagan in the 1980s, the reason he was able to be successful, one of the major reasons was they viewed him as nutty enough to press the button.
Yeah. So let's do another flashback. This is a year ago. And you remember this guy, Jake Sullivan. He's Biden's national security advisor. And boy, he's telling you this whopper. Did you believe it?
The Iranian attacks against U.S. forces have stopped. Our presence in Iraq is stable. I emphasize for now because all of that can change. And the Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades.
How about now?
Yeah. Well, and so again, we bring it back home to say you need to start caring about this. And look, like I know Tony talks about this a lot, and obviously it's personal to him, and there's, that's fine. For us, the average person who doesn't have the, emotional investment in it that some people do, or the personal investment in it that some people do, you need to care about this because it is about to really affect you. And again, that directly starts at what you're going to be paying for energy, what you're potentially going to be paying for heat, what you're going to be paying for gas. And then the next logical step is if you have a loved one or someone you care about, someone in the armed forces, there's a very real chance, if not in direct ground conflict, this could escalate to a thing where certainly on the high seas, certainly in these ports, certainly in ports of entry and strategic areas that Israel would need to control for military conflicts, et cetera, you could definitely see our loved ones heading abroad to be a part of these missions.
And it's just another example of how Democrat leadership, like Kamala Harris included, they don't actually want to stand firm with Israel because they're more concerned about their own power. They're afraid that they'll lose votes in Michigan and Minnesota. And that's not the leadership that we need right now.
Well, the other thing, too, is there used to be and it wasn't really all that long ago. It was like there were certain things that just unified the country, regardless of what political persuasion you were, belief system, whatever. And it was centered around this idea of American exceptionalism, American greatness, and then we as a collective had a vested interest in helping others who were furthering stability, furthering relationships with America to make us a better country. And I'm not talking about giving money to people like the Ukraine who are not our friends or there's no track record. But if you were to say in the Middle East, the one person who's always been, the one group that's always been an incredibly stable ally and furthered many of the values that we used to profess in this country, it was Israel. But I don't think we have that anymore. I think you have a super divided country where it's probably closer to 50-50 on if we even support Israel anymore. Some of the politicians who make it greater than 50-50 are doing it out of political expedience rather than an actual belief system or moral code or whatever. And I think by the day you see a drain in terms of the commitment to our ally in the Middle East.
Yeah. I like to call this segment Thoughts from People on the Internet.
Oh.
This is kind of a man on the street situation, and this is how you turn a liberal into a Trump voter. Listen to this woman and her thoughts about how she'll be voting.
I am actually not a Trump fan. I think that he is narcissistic, he's egotistical, he's cruel. I don't like the way that he treats people. However, when I heard that Biden was no longer going to run, I was so hopeful that we would have a stand-up person to represent our country, and it's not Kamala. One of our family members was talking to us about how he chose his surgeon, and he chose a very narcissistic surgeon who is very good at what he does. He said that he ended up making this choice not because he was kind, but because he was too egotistical to let himself fail on a life-threatening surgery. And I feel that way about Trump. I feel like even though he is narcissistic, I feel like he is too egotistical not to protect our country, and protection is what we need right now. And in the world that we're living in, I feel like Trump is the right person.
I think she's got a great point. Surgeons are maniacs, but in that situation, you want somebody who's going to be precise and also confident in their ability, and that's the same thing you get with Donald Trump. Wouldn't you rather have that than somebody who's flip-flopping and meandering all over the place or deer in the headlights?
Yeah, hey, when we come back, should we get back into that debate last night? Talk a bit more about that?
We can do that. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Let's now name all the things you would rather do other than move.
Gastro bypass surgery.
And I was just going to go for enema. Same body part, just from different angles.
Takes half as long.
This show is excellent, by the way.
I love it.
You know, we got nominated for a Marconi. Oh. We didn't get nominated this year. I don't see another one in our future.
It's like that Colts won Super Bowl championship. We'll always have that.
I was going to put up a finalist banner.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, you know, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. In Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hey, this is Malia. We often get asked when is the best time to buy, and the answer is today, not tomorrow. With rising utility costs, rising product costs, and missed opportunity costs, which you could be saving with a high-efficiency system. Give us a call today to schedule your free in-depth estimate, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Mecum Auctions returns to Indianapolis October 3rd to the 5th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience with 1,000 vehicles up for auction. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, Mecum Auctions is for you. Register to bid and buy spectator tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
Go now to bwindow.com and receive $400 off per window and $250 off any patio or entry door, plus 2.99% financing.
Donald Trump was absolutely thrilled with J.D. Vance's performance in the vice presidential debate against Tim Walz last night. He even posted to his Truth Social, "Great job, JD. We will make America great again." As he should be pleased, because what more does he want from JD Vance? He crushed it.
Well, you're 100% correct. And I've been very critical of Vance from the time he picked him for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't think Vance offered any real differential from Trump. Mm-hmm. Like, I felt like you're getting the same guy. I'm not sure where he really helps you in terms of like pulling in a new group of people. And I've said repeatedly, I don't think a guy who said the things about Trump was going to be the best choice. Look at what he ran into with Pence, and Trump needs somebody that's totally invested in the Trump brand and Trump loyalty. And I think Vance got off to a bit of a rocky start, but last night, without a doubt, it was an A+ performance. He was great. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure with how many people a vice presidential debate actually moves the needle. But if you were to say, what sort of performance would I want heading into early voting, that was a great closing performance to remind people of the differences and kind of what you're voting on this fall.
I thought J.D. Vance was able to articulate their position better than Donald Trump.
Well, it does bring back to, and you and I hate to do the "we told you so's." You know, it's
we do.
But we had talked about, look, hey, Donald Trump's a heck of a lift, right? Mm-hmm. And Donald Trump creates problems with the electorate that no other Republican had. And we were saying back in January and February, if you like the Trump stuff, then why not pick the Trump stuff, but without the Trump lift and drama? And I think that's played out. We were Ron DeSantis people. There were other people who liked other candidates, and that's fine. But I think you saw that with J.D. Vance last night, that it's not the Trump policies, it's the Trump persona, the Trump drama, the Trump unpredictability, the Trump taking the bait in the debates. J.D. Vance was having none of that last night. They tried the same tricks with Vance that they tried with Trump, and Vance handled it infinitely better. Mm-hmm. And I just, it's like we talked about with DeSantis. You never worry about what DeSantis is going to say. You're never on pins and needles of, oh my gosh, he's going to say something so egregious.
Is this going to be a train wreck or what? You have confidence.
We said this yesterday with Vance.
Makes you feel comfortable.
100%. We said Vance was going to boat race him. He did because you feel confident that the guy's a trained speaker. He's an author, right? He has been on the speaker circuit. He knows how to, you're going to see this next hour about how when people who are trained public speakers are put in positions of public speaking, how much better they do than people who are just winging policy ideas with no rhyme or reason. The point on all of this is I was never worried about J.D. Vance. I'm on pins and needles every time Trump gets in a public speaking position.
So according to CBS News, they said that their watchers were evenly split on whether Tim Walz or J.D. Vance won the debate. They're completely lying to you. I mean, that's ridiculous.
So Luntz did the focus group. Frank Luntz, he's a famous pollster. He's not a Trump fan by any stretch. He is a Republican, but he doesn't. And it was 12-2.
Yeah.
I always think he's a great barometer because I think he had Kamala winning his focus group had Kamala winning the presidential debate. I always think he's a great judge because he is not invested in Trump victory. He's not spinning. He doesn't even like Trump. And it was 12-2. That's a bloodbath.
Yeah. So 88% agreed that the overall tone of the debate was positive, which I think was very refreshing.
Kind of boring, wasn't it? Kind of boring, right?
Well, I found myself getting bored when Tim Walz was talking. I don't know if it was just his delivery, the tone of his voice, what it was. Because I knew that I was being lied to, I just felt like I kept toning him out.
Does that make me a bad person that I'm disappointed? I mean, look, I need a brawl. I need
Well, that's what the women on
wrestling.
MSNBC were saying afterwards, that's what they wanted. They wanted Tim Walz out there fighting. And it was very nice and pleasant. And I thought
I hated that. I hated it how nice those two were to each other, right? Like look, if I want to see people being
you wanted to be entertained,
nice to each other. I mean, I'll watch Good Morning America or whatever. Like I look, these are two grown ass men who have very different views of the country.
Yeah.
Why are we acting like a couple of goody two shoes up there? Let's take the gloves off. Let's go.
I think there was one very.
Darling's in the newsroom laughing because that's what he wanted to. Yeah. I know.
I didn't watch the debate, so
look at how happy you are.
He spent no time with it at all. It's not that he zoned out. He just didn't pay any attention.
I actively didn't watch it.
You ever get to an end of a movie and you're like, there must be something good about this movie that was the reason I wasted. This is why I don't go to the movies anymore. But you give 2 hours of your time and it's over and the credits start rolling and you're like, that's it? That was that was me at the end of that debate.
You know what? Jim and I have this conversation. We'll be watching something and he'll say, this is awful. And I said, well, stop watching it.
Yeah.
No, I have to finish. No, you don't. You can walk away.
Well, but I felt like I did have to watch it. It's sort of my job,
right? Well, that's
your
job, right?
Yeah.
There was one powerful moment that I thought when Tim Walz was talking about how his son saw a shooter.
Have we confirmed that?
No. Well, that's the question. That needs to be fact-checked. But then when J.D. Vance gave his condolences, that showed to me that J.D. Vance was actually listening and he was empathetic and he wasn't just waiting for his turn to talk.
Does this make me a horrible person? When Walz said that,
you questioned it
because I said, how could that have not come out before now?
Yep.
I mean, I'm not trying to say it didn't happen. I'm not conspiracy theory. I'm just simply saying, as much as this guy has lied.
Well, right. With everything with, being in China and he lied about that and he gave a bumbling answer, it makes you question anything he says. Is that real?
How did we not? The left hates guns. They're all about gun control. How have we not on the stump heard this story? And do we think anybody will actually try to now confirm that the story happened and the details of the story?
I think somebody should try to confirm it. And then when he was talking about mental health and he was saying just because if you have a mental health problem, it doesn't make you crazy. Sometimes it is the guns. No, Tim Walz. They don't go off by themselves. Yeah. It is the operator.
Yeah, I do this with the politics stuff where I make my wife watch it with me. And then I kind of put it to her like... you don't have to if you don't care about your country and want to know what's going on. And then she
guilt her into it.
And then she knows she has to. And so she get done with the debate, and I looked at her and I said, so what'd you think? And she just goes, I just want Jesus to come back.
Did you like how J.D. Vance was breaking the fourth wall?
Looking at the camera,
doing
he's
the
like Jim
side
from
eye
The
to
Office.
the camera. Yeah, like Jim Halpert from The Office. And when you become a meme before the debate's even over, That was fantastic.
Do we have voicemails?
We do. We've got a couple of those coming up from 93 WIBC.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They want action. It's 58 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Members of Congress are demanding something be done in response to Iran's latest missile attack on Israel. Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham wants lawmakers to head back to Washington, D.C. to pass a package of aid for Israel and says it's time for the West to start targeting Iran's oil refineries. And Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says Iran should face severe consequences. Massachusetts Congressman Jim McGovern says he's worried a wider war will increase the number of civilian casualties in Gaza, Israel, and Lebanon and result in more U.S. involvement. Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
McDonald's is rolling out a new promotion for the day. 10% of all sales made on its mobile app will go towards local high school athletic programs. Even every locally owned franchise of McDonald's has picked a particular high school that they'll help out with the proceeds. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for my friends and family at Life Church. Man, you know we love Life Church. They've had such an amazing impact on my life, on my wife's life, on my daughter's life, my whole family's life. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, check out my friends at Life Church. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church. They're warm, they're welcoming. They'd love the opportunity this Sunday to meet and welcome you and your family. Campuses all across central Indiana. Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Awesome online services. Learn more about everything. LifeChurchIN.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
If you need health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Terrence and Jody when they got married, and Sophia when she had a baby, and Gary when he moved and needed new insurance. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs and our values. I'm Todd Rokita, your Attorney General. I fight for you, and together we win. Suing Biden because he's opened the border to illegals who are killing us, harming our kids, and driving up our taxes. Stopping federal bureaucrats who kill jobs and jack up our electricity prices with their failed Green New Deal that does nothing for our air and water. Keeping criminals behind bars where they belong. Recovering millions of dollars from welfare theft, fraud, and from opioid drug manufacturers, all to protect your health and your tax dollars. Creating the Parents' Bill of Rights so you can protect our kids from those trying to corrupt them while you're at work. Successfully keeping boys from competing in girls' sports and defending, of course, our pro-life values. And the Gun Owners' Bill of Rights so you can defend yourself and your family. I'm Todd Rokita, and with your vote this November, we'll keep fighting and winning together. Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
Hey, did you see Rokita and Indiana Beto are going to debate?
I can't believe that. When's that going to happen?
I guess it's going to be on In Focus. That's a Fox 59 show. The weekend of October the 13th.
What's a debate of the Attorney General look like? Are you going to withhold the laws of the state? Yes. How about you? Yes. Okay, we're done here.
Well, with Destiny Wells,
well, right.
If her lips are moving on that, she's lying.
She'll talk about what she wants to fight for.
Yeah, well, okay, so it's going to be participate in a 20-minute debate, 2 10-minute segments, 2-minute break. I mean, so how much you going to get with that? Here's the thing, Rokita. You got to call her an on-demand abortion advocate in that debate. Come on, Rokita.
Show us what you're made of.
My gosh, can you imagine having to stand on the stage with her for 20 minutes? Oh, jeez.
317-684-8444. That is the phone number if you'd like to get involved with your voicemails. And we start off today. Somebody wants to comment on the vice president debate from last night.
Hello, Kendall and Casey. Hope you're having a good day. The debate last night was great. Vance is will be a wonderful vice president. He does have a brain in his head. It's wonderful. And the most impressive part of last night, I think, in my opinion, was when Walz tried to say he was calling Trump a Nazi and talking bad about his budgets and his plans previously. And Vance came back and said that, yes, he did say that, and he changed his mind because he got educated. He saw results from Trump. It's amazing that people can change their minds and get and see results and see that people aren't bad. And Vance even said that the mainstream media disillusioned him on Trump also. But when he found real information about him, he realized how great Trump was. So maybe some of these people need to see his example that, yeah, he's a big enough man to say he changed his mind. He got educated and realized Trump was a good guy after all, and he's good for our country.
Even the New York Times today came out and said that Vance's dominant debate performance show why he's Trump's running mate.
Oh, yeah, he's a clear winner. I don't know if it moves the needle, but definitely the clear winner.
Here's another phone call, this one about Pete Rose.
Hey, Robin Casey. Listening yesterday on your rant regarding Pete Rose, I wanted to share something. My dad played semi-pro baseball. He was one of the few people I knew that could listen to a game on the radio and watch another one on the TV and follow both of them. We often teased him because every problem we ever had growing up, he somehow solved it and used a baseball analogy to do so. So I remember when Pete Rose was found gambling against the game, and it came down to him getting the lifetime ban on the Hall of Fame. I asked my dad what he thought of it. My dad agreed with all of it. He said that baseball players should honor the game on and off the field. Pete Rose knew what he was doing, and he knew the consequences of it, but he chose to do it anyway. So my dad's been gone now over a decade, and when I heard Pete Rose passed away, the first vision I had in my head was my dad trying to locate him up above to give him an earful. So I'm with you, Rob. I think when you make choices in life, there's good consequences and there's bad consequences. Pete Rose knew exactly what he was doing. He lied about it. He chose the behavior. Therefore, he chose the consequences. Love your show. God bless.
That's perfect. There's nothing else to say. And it's a bigger we talked about yesterday. It's a bigger conversation, which is it's meaningless whether we do this with Pete Rose because he never lorded over anybody. He never got to tell us what to do. He wasn't an elected person. But we do this with elected people all the time. The same thing I see with the Pete Rose stuff, which is he did this horrific thing, which by baseball standards, what he did was horrific. It's the equivalent of the death penalty. But it doesn't matter because we liked this thing that he did over here. And so for me, I'm passionate about this because it's part of a much broader conversation to me because we do the same thing with people who actually really matter, which are these elected people. And this is why we keep picking the same people we pick to run this country.
I liked her phone call that she said it made her think of her dad. I haven't thought about Pete Rose in years, but the second I heard the news that he had passed away, my mind went straight to my dad. And that one thing that Pete Rose did for all of the bad about him, and not even about baseball, is that it did bring people together with their parents. It was kind of that
we talked about this
thing.
yesterday. I love, and I mean this with all sincerity, I love that you have those memories. I love that she has those memories. And saying that Pete Rose, what he did in terms of not just the act itself, but the deceit and the bullying and the steamrolling and the intimidation, that's horrific stuff. It doesn't in any way take away the memory of you doing those things. The same way as in 1999 at a Major League Baseball game, I hugged Sammy Sosa. And I will remember that. And that kid next to me, and he was signing autographs, and he signed an autograph for me, and the kid next to him, he's like, what do you want? And the kid goes, how about a hug? And Sammy Sosa said, sure. And everybody got in and gave him a big hug in the front row at Wrigley Field before the game. I'll never forget that. But Sammy Sosa was a cheater. He was a steroid user. He did cork his bat. He has no business being in the Hall of Fame. You can make both of these things true where you love the memories, and you'll never forget them, and it'll never change, and still say your actions matter.
Yeah. Here's a phone call. This is Indiana Joe, who lives in Texas, and he's going to tell us how he plans to vote. I don't think I agree with him.
I've had an epiphany moment. Everybody tells me that Trump, Harris, you got to make a decision and vote for the lesser of two evils. Well, I'm a pragmatist, but not that much of a pragmatist. I prefer to think that two wrongs can make a right. And in this case, I think the elegant solution is, let's get Trump in as president, and let's make sure the Democrats have a slight majority in the Senate and a slight majority in the House, and that will gridlock the government for 4 years, and it will keep all of Satan's imps up there in that Capitol building at bay. They won't be able to get anything done. And that's the perfect solution for our country. You won't get any of the nonsense from Trump and his totalitarianism, and you won't get anything from the wackadoo side with gender whatever and their equity whatever. So let's just sit still and take a pause for 4 years, and then 4 years from now we can worry about actually getting a government that's going to do something for the people instead of for the TV cameras and all the wackadoodles in our country.
Okay, so how long do we have for me to say, and I love Indiana Joe, that is one of the worst ideas I've ever heard.
I agree.
Okay, so let's start with the Senate. The Senate controls the judges, which is the most important thing domestically I think a president does, certainly now that we have an activist. The left is totally invested in activism on the bench. You want Chuck...
Well, they've been saying they want to change the number of judges and term limits for them.
Yeah, you want Chuck Schumer deciding whether these judges... I mean, I'm just like, I could go for 9 hours on this. Let's go to the House. Impeachment emanates out of the House of Representatives. If you have a Democrat House of Representatives, Donald Trump will be impeached the moment he is sworn in. And it will just be one thing after another. I mean, if that's what you want, if you want no federal judges being appointed, if you want Donald Trump having no chance to get any of his agenda passed, if you want him just going through one trial and charade after another, then go for it. Maybe that is what he wants. But I mean, if you actually like want something to get that, no. No.
Well, you saying he doesn't want any change for the next 4 years. What? You want right. What we have now to continue? Right. Oh, and by the way, it's not going to continue if a change doesn't happen. It's going to get worse.
Yeah, that's
So I don't think that's really a great idea there, although we do appreciate the phone call. And here's one more before the birthday boy is going to join us. Yesterday, you posed the question, who are the hot girls that are known, who are famous just for being attractive?
Right, because we saw a video of Pam Anderson at some event.
Yep.
And she had lipstick on, but basically looked like no other makeup. She's in some
it's very feminine, very demure dress.
Right. Like not Baywatch, barbed wire.
Right. It wasn't rock and roll. It wasn't low cut. It wasn't showing all the skin.
Heroes of my youth, it's sort of Pam Anderson. And so we said, okay, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
Are we being hypocritical because we laugh and say how pathetic Madonna is for looking ridiculous, but then we're like, oh, what happened to Pam Anderson? And then we got a conversation of, is Pam Anderson the most famous person ever for just being attractive? I'm not saying like Taylor Swift, you might find her attractive, but she clearly has a talent in the eyes of some people. She's a singer, whatever. And we kind of, I think, agreed Marilyn Monroe probably eclipses Pam Anderson in terms of the most famous person ever for simply just being attractive.
Did you tell me how old she was, Pam Anderson?
Who?
You looked that up, didn't you?
Yeah, 57.
Okay, so I thought, she's just being age appropriate. After I reviewed the video of her again, I thought she looked beautiful. She looked like she was glowing.
Look at Rainwater. He's like staring over your shoulder, trying to intimidate me, as though like that's gonna.
He's
itching
to get in here to
me,
debate
right?
with you. Before he can come in here, let's get to this one last phone call. Here's somebody with a suggestion on who could be on the list of hot girls who are just known for their looks.
Hey, this is Dan from the East Side. What about Bo Derek? She's the famous 10. How about that? Bye.
Hey, guys. Got the nurse. Bo Derek. I don't need to say anything else. Bo Derek.
Okay, hot take. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Tommy Boy Bo Derek was hotter than
Running on the beach, Bo Derek?
Yeah, that's a hot take. That's my hot take. That Tommy Boy Bo Derek getting out of the pool. Now, I don't notice people's appearances anymore, but what I remember from days gone by.
Hammer's going to join us next. It's 93 WIBC.
$16,500, Casey.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Is that what you're giving me?
Casey, you lose that in the couch cushions each day. $16,500 is how much it could cost the average American couple every single year if the Social Security Trust Fund runs out of money.
Multiply that by 10 or 20 years, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
This is why it's critical you, Casey, have the right strategy to file for Social Security in 29 years because you're only about 31 years old.
Discover how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery. He's your retirement guy right here in Indy.
We know and trust Bill, and you can too.
If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912.
This free analysis could help you wring every nickel out of your benefits that are rightfully yours. So call today, 317-932-9912, 317-932-9912.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Go to salarmy.us/Indiana EDS. That's salarmy.us/Indiana EDS. From the Salvation Army and WIBC.
Fall in Indy is great, but don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.
Well, the home was built in 1948. Paint on the aluminum siding was peeling, and I couldn't find anyone who would repaint it until I called Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's better than paint. And the crew?
Painted all my aluminum siding, and I've got a front porch that runs the whole length of the house and all the pillars. And once they were gone, I couldn't even tell that they were there.
And right now, Indy, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
Well, I've told a lot of people, do the Rhino Shield. It's really a great product, and that would be the way to go.
And here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hello, friends. It is Rob for Universal Windows Direct. And boy, what an incredible deal going on right now at Universal Windows Direct. When you call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. For every 2 windows you buy, Universal Windows Direct going to give you the next 2 windows free. I woke up today going, ooh, it's getting a little chilly out there. That means winter is right around the corner, and that means you want to stay warm in your own home. And a great way to help you do that is windows from Universal Windows Direct. Now, when you call today, 317-659-7574, on top of every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get 2 free. They're also going to give you 0% financing for 36 months. That's 3 years. Now, some restrictions apply. So to get all the details, you got to call Universal Windows Direct today, 317-659-7574. Oh, yeah, and when you call, make sure to say Rob Kendall from WIBC told me to call, and they're going to take $250 off your project just because they can. 317-659-7574. Find them on the web, uwd.com. Universal Windows Direct, Tom Robinson.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick
is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. Roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Hey, it's Robin. I've put my name behind Garage Doors of Indianapolis for the past 7 years because they're a local conservative company that does quality work on time. In many ways, Garage Doors of Indianapolis is the perfect Hoosier. Recently, they helped my family in a garage door pinch by arriving on site quickly and fixing the problem right away. For all of your garage door needs, call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 317-875-4577. 317-875-4577. Or visit them at doorstoday.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
This November, Indianapolis will play host to one of the most prestigious culinary competitions in the world, the World Food Championships. From November 8th through the 12th, the city will welcome over 300 cooking teams, battling in 12 unique food categories.
All of this is going down at the Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion. It's inside the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Food samples, cooking demonstrations, celebrity chef appearances, family fun zone, and more. To learn more or buy tickets, visit worldfoodchampionships.com.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
Well, I'm flanked by the birthday boys. Don Rainwater sitting to my right, who celebrated a birthday a couple days ago. And to my left, it is Jason Hammer, who's celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And the challenge we have to your listeners and all of the WIBC listeners is on the Hammer and Nigel Show Facebook, which is restricted, but you can still find it, and the Instagram at Hammer and Nigel. In honor of my birthday, you have two options. You can either send us a direct message of a nude or just roast me. And we're going to read the best roasts back in the afternoon.
How many nudes do you think you're going to get?
Well, Casey sent me 3 already. I mean, she was the one behind
private, right?
Idea of it.
Yeah, we asked Rainwater if he was in for a nude or a roast, and he said roast, and then you said you already had the nude.
Yeah. I mean, listen, times were tough, and $20 was $20, and we made a deal. By the way, look how well-dressed Donald Rainwater is in.
I know.
He is coming in here to beat your backside in this debate. I believe it was Bob Knight that once said, he's not here to mess around this week.
Yeah.
Now, you may be, but he's not.
You may be mean. Yes, that's right. One of the great quotes in and I was going to dress up because I did when Rittenhour came in. And I'm sorry, Don. I got up and I was like, I got to get dressed up. And then I thought that is way too long to be in nice clothes. I'm just wearing what I'm wearing.
Now, keep in mind, Rob does not put this show together, nor does he put any of our gambling shows together. But for some reason, he just doesn't have the time to shave and shower.
He's
and
so busy.
Look, presentable.
Right.
So, again, that's the challenge. Hammer and Nigel, Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. The choice is yours. All right, you guys are talking about the debate, right? So, listen, it feels like from the first part of this show, Rob, you've tried to dominate the conversation. And I think there's a lot of people that want to hear what Casey has to say about what's going on. No. So I thought, you know what? We're going to kill two birds with one stone here.
Oh, no.
Here to weigh in about the debate last night, the vice presidential debate, is our friend AI Casey Daniels.
Oh, my God. What a horrible debate. Walz was a disaster. I haven't seen anything that disappointing since Rob Kendall showed me a photo of his crank. It was so boring last night that I decided to switch channels and watch a documentary on how paint dries. The only enjoyable moment was when those two awful women of CBS had their spirit broken by Vance not putting up with their crap.
True.
J.D. Vance was okay. Old Balls Tim Walls was creepy, but again, I see creepy every day working with Rob Kendall.
True.
Rob is the kind of guy who pees sitting down, then brags about how it's the cool thing to do for men. Oh, and you want to know another thing? I don't give a rat's ass about Brownsburg. Personally, I hope Rob doesn't get into the Hall of Fame there. Back to the debate. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give that debate a who gives a shit. A.I. Casey out.
That was well done.
A.I. Casey Daniels, ladies and gentlemen.
She's spunky, isn't she?
Speaking of the restroom, do you see they fixed the urinal? We got that other urinal back in there now.
Really?
Yeah, we were down to one urinal. They removed it from.
We're not like an Alabama truck stop anymore.
The wall, and
wow.
that urinal is back in there now.
You can redefine masculinity then in the bathroom.
One more thing. I heard you mention that Todd Rokita is going to be debating Indiana's Beto.
Yeah, Indiana Beto. Yeah, Destiny Wells.
And you said if he calls her an on-demand abortion advocate, it'd be great. How about this? If you're willing to go in with me, the Degenerates Next Door podcast will provide pizza and beer for his office if he calls her that on the debate. If Todd Rokita looks at Destiny Wells and calls her an on-demand abortion advocate, you and I, Rob, with our gambling winnings, will provide pizza and beer for the Attorney General's office.
I feel like Rokita's crazy enough to just do it, too.
I think he's coming on the show tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
We're still working on the schedule.
You gonna ask him?
I'm going to ask him about it.
Yeah.
But are you in?
Oh, totally.
All right.
100%. Can you imagine Dan Spieler's face when Rokita looks at Beto, Indiana Beto, and says, well, that's what I'd expect from an on-demand abortion advocate.
Oh, I'm sure Dan Spieler will go crying into the loving arms of Adam Wren somewhere.
Spieler will fact check him.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I like Dan. He's a good guy. He's always been super nice to me.
But he was one of those dudes that piled on me about the
that's
Atterbury stuff, and I'm still waiting for that apology from Mr. Littleman. I'm willing to bet he's got a really hard handshake because he's got Littleman syndrome.
I like Dan. I've known Dan for a long time. They used to have me on that show all the time, and then they just stopped inviting me. And I think they got mad because I was too mean to the Republicans. Republican, Democrat, and then some news guy.
Right.
And I think they got frustrated that I wasn't just saying
toeing the company line.
Republicans are good, and they just, I guess, disinvited me.
I can talk with anybody. Like, I'm friends with Abdul, and let's be honest, he's a lib. I've got lib friends. But if you do me dirty like that and you don't apologize, you are dead to me. And I'm the wrong person to do that.
You are the most meanest, most spiteful person I know. I would never make you mad.
And it's my birthday.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, what's coming up this afternoon?
So Tony Kennett will join us. He's got some interesting thoughts on what happened last night. A lot of crazy audio, and man, we're just going to laugh and have a good time.
Debate's next, Casey.
Yep. Happy birthday, Hammer.
Thank
It
you.
is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Jennifer McCormick backed Hillary Clinton for president. And when McCormick was in charge of education in Indiana, our schools ranked at the bottom. She even opposed school choice. Then McCormick backed Joe Biden for president and supported his $1 trillion spending scheme that caused all the inflation. Now she runs for governor on a plan that would increase your energy bills, create a new office of environmental justice, and ban gas stoves. Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal.
This is Mike Braun. Here's my plan for Indiana. I'll enforce immigration laws even when the federal government fails to act, keeping our streets safe and secure. And my plan lowers more costs. I'll cut property taxes, reduce energy bills, and expand parental choice and school voucher programs. Indiana needs strong leadership. We can get it done.
Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Point.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace.
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Go now to bwindow.com and receive $400 off per window and $250 off any patio or entry door, plus 2.99% financing.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what the governor has to say about yet another investment in Lebanon by Eli Lilly. Plus, Donnie Burgess reports on where IMPD is with solving murders that have happened this year. And the Colts make more moves thanks to injuries. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
An emergency meeting at the UN Security Council. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, the day after Iran's missile barrage.
Israel will not stand by in the face of such aggression. Israel will respond.
Ambassador Danny Danone right before the meeting where the U.S., Britain, and France condemned Iran. So did UN leader Antonio Guterres, but he also spoke out against Israel's response to Hamas's terror attack last year.
Israel has conducted in Gaza the most deadly and destructive military campaign in my years as Secretary General. The suffering endured by the Palestinian people in Gaza is beyond imagination.
Oh, the fighting still rages in Gaza and in Lebanon, where 8 Israeli soldiers were killed today battling Hezbollah, which keeps firing rockets into Israel. It's another day without power, cell service, or water for some Hurricane Helene victims.
The lack of water in our school buildings and power in about half of our buildings is a major roadblock to bringing students safely back to school.
Superintendent Maggie Furman in Asheville, North Carolina. President Biden will soon leave the White House to tour that devastation. Fox Weather's Robert Ray's already there.
There are many people unaccounted for in these hills and mountains here in western North Carolina. Choppers will be moving across these hillsides very, very soon as emergency officials will try to get aid to people.
The storm's blamed for at least 161 deaths in 6 states. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is at a federal court for a hearing.
The Democratic mayors pled not guilty to federal charges including wire fraud and bribery, and insinuated he was singled out for refusing to toe the party line on issues like immigration and crime. A theory Donald Trump supports, saying when he saw Adams talking about illegal migrants about a year ago, he predicted he'd be indicted, adding, "And I was exactly right." Trump claiming both he and Adams are the target of a politically motivated federal Justice Department.
Lillian Wu, America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He says it's bold. It's 60 degrees and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Eli Lilly is doubling up on its investment in the Leap District in Lebanon. The drug maker announcing what it's calling a medicine foundry. That'll cost $4.5 billion to build. Governor Holcomb speaking at the unveiling of the project this morning.
It's been said that fortune favors the bold, and the Lilly team, Dan, you and your whole crew, have been nothing short of bold.
Lilly says it's the first time ever that they'll be combining both drug research and manufacturing in one location. Several schools were on lockdown this morning.
At some point,
point, as the officer was trying to take the alleged suspect into custody, some sort of struggle ensued. There was a firearm displayed. No shots were fired.
That was along Raymond Street, says IMPD Sergeant William Young. Those lockdowns have since been lifted, but no arrests have been made. Police in Indianapolis still have over 100 homicides that have yet to be solved this year. Donnie Burgess reports.
The act of taking someone's life should at least have an explanation, but the latest homicide report released by Indy Metro Police Tuesday shows nearly 24 killings do not have a clear motive. The reason behind 17 killings in 2024 is listed as unknown, with another handful listed as other. Arguments dominate the rest of the motive list, with motives like rape and abuse popping up just once each. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The special committee looking into sexual harassment within Indianapolis city government met for the first time on Tuesday. They're figuring out which law firm to hire to investigate the Hogsett administration. The Indianapolis Colts have placed another key defensive player on injured reserve. Pass rusher Tyquan Lewis is out for the time being with an injured elbow. The Colts also releasing kicker Spencer Schrader. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 2nd, 5 minutes after 11. This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. And it is that portion of the program where we are going to have a Ward-nominated broadcaster and Brownsburg High School Hall of Fame wannabe, Rob Kendall, debate the Libertarian candidate for governor, Don Rainwater. So you guys know the rules. They've been passed out to you, and we did the coin toss. Don won. He chose to begin with an opening statement, which means he will also close the debate with the closing statement. So, Don, you get to go first. Here's your opening statement for the listeners.
Thank you. Good morning, fellow Hoosiers. My name is Donald Rainwater. I am the Libertarian candidate for governor here in the state of Indiana. President Calvin Coolidge once said that anytime government collects more money than it needs to do its job, it's legalized robbery. I believe that Hoosiers have been robbed by their state government for years, and it's time that it stopped. I want to put more money back in Hoosiers' pockets. I want to make Indiana less taxing for all of us, not just some of us. Not just a select few in order to pander for votes. I want to make Indiana less taxing for everybody because I believe that in this economy, you need your hard-earned money more than the state government does. Thank you.
All right, Rob, your opening statement.
Thanks to Don for being here. Thank you to you, Casey, for moderating the debate. I want to use my opening statement to talk primarily about what we're doing here today, and that is we're doing this debate because Don was unfairly kicked off the debate stage. Regardless of who we've endorsed or supporting, Donald Rainwater will represent hundreds of thousands of voters in the upcoming election. And given Indiana's very high threshold for ballot access and given Don's previous performance and his performance in all of the polls that have been released, it is a great disservice to the people of Indiana that he is not going to be on the debate stage tonight. So part of what we're trying to accomplish over the next hour is provide some fairness to this, to a guy who deserves to be heard, and we look forward to hearing his ideas. Now, over the next hour from me, you're going to hear robust and, most important, specific with details plan to reform the property tax system, the public education system, and transparency in state government. And I look forward to sharing those ideas and hearing Don's.
Okay, let's begin with our first question. Don, you had just mentioned you wanted Indiana to be less taxing, so we start with property taxes. Explain your property tax plan. Be specific.
All right. I have two goals that I want to achieve with property taxes in the state of Indiana. The first one is I don't believe that property taxes should arbitrarily go up while you own your home. We often hear recently people complaining about a presidential candidate talking about unrealized gains and taxing those unrealized gains. There is nothing more obviously an unrealized gain than an assessor assessing your property and then saying that you owe taxes based on the assessed value that they come up with. So I have said that we should limit property taxes in Indiana to 1% of the purchase price of the property. I also believe my second goal is to make sure that property taxes do not go on in perpetuity. We are not Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank here in Indiana. We don't need a royalty on property ownership where the state continues to get paid every year because you own something. So my proposal has been to limit that to 7 years, basically making it a 7% tax on your property when you purchase it. You can do that at closing, all 7% up front. If you amortize that in your mortgage over a period of 30 years, it will be considerably lower than what you are currently paying to escrow your property taxes. Or you can escrow it 1% a year for 7 years, and then you're done. I believe that this will lead to Hoosiers owning their property and knowing what their property taxes and, more importantly, their mortgage payment will be every year without having to worry about it.
All right, Rob, we'll get to you in just a second with the same question. But before we do that, I want to get Don's reaction to this. Yesterday, an article was published in the Indiana Capital Chronicle about property taxes and your plan. And here's what they said. Rainwater's plan would freeze property tax rates at purchasing prices and end payments after 7 years, a plan that would certainly be jeopardizing for both state and local government budgets. They noted it would be a good deal for a longtime homeowner who still depended on local government services like public safety, schools, and roads, but didn't pay into it. What is your reaction on that?
Well, my reaction to that is that's their opinion. And the reality is state budgets, county budgets, municipal budgets, they control those. If we say that giving people the appropriate tax break would harm budgets, then I would be concerned because I know that there are many other funding mechanisms that go into state, county, and local governments. As a matter of fact, Barnes and Thornburg issued a paper in 2017 listing a plethora of alternative funding sources for local and county governments, not to mention the fact that I believe that it's wrong that we give 10-year tax abatements to corporations in local government, but won't give any breaks to the citizens.
All right, Rob, same question to you. Explain what you think would be the ideal property tax plan for the state of Indiana and be specific.
Well, first, I think it's important to address what Don has said. And this is a major problem with Don's plan, which is there's a lot of fun ideas out there. There's no numbers behind them. There's no cost. There's no estimation of what this will do to local governments. There's no and then what. And so you can't take a plan serious where there's no numbers provided whatsoever. Don and I share the sentiment that we need to get out of the property tax game. Don and I share the reality that it is a disgrace that you never actually own your own home. But the problem is, it's not a serious proposal when there's no numbers behind it whatsoever. The reality is there tons of waste and inefficiency in local government? Yes. Should Noblesville be paying $36 million for the Pacers G League team to have a taxpayer-funded arena? No. Does that in any way add to the essential, add to the things government should essentially be doing? No. But the truth is, police, which I think we all agree are an essential part of local government, cost something. Local fire and EMT, which I think we can agree are an essential part of government, cost something. Roads cost something. Bridges cost something. Sidewalks cost something. Water and sewer. All of these things cost things. And I have yet to hear, and maybe Don can provide it now, have you done any budget analysis of your property tax plan and what it would cost in terms of revenue to local government, and how are they supposed to account for that? Because your lieutenant governor, in the lieutenant governor debate, basically described it as Hunger Games, where the townships and the towns and the cities and the fire departments and the counties and the schools will have some sort of competition for the money. Is there any of that in your plan on how, if your plan was enacted, local governments would divide up the money or what it would cost?
All right, Don, since he did mention your name, we'll give you a chance to answer if you choose so. His question was, have you done any budget analysis of your property tax plan?
Well, before I answer Rob's question, since he's part of the debate, I would still like to hear his answer to your question, because
right, which was,
while
does he have a plan?
criticized me completely, I haven't heard his alternative, and I would like to hear it, because if he has a better plan than what I have, I would love to collaborate with him in figuring out how to implement that. Unfortunately, over the last year and a half that I've been campaigning, until he decided to endorse one of my opponents, he was very enthusiastic about my property tax plan and never personally told me that it was unviable.
All right, so here we go, Casey. Guy's been running for governor for a year. Well, he's been running for governor for 4 years, 8 years, I guess, if you go back to the last time, and he won't give you a number. Now, I will. You know why? Because governing is hard, and governing, good governing, is about making hard choices. It's very easy to throw out pie-in-the-sky fantasy island numbers without anything to back them up. And you asked him a very direct question, which somebody who's been running for governor, the signature issue of what he's running on. He's running ads on this radio station about property taxes. He can't give you any numbers. That's not a serious candidate. That's not serious governance. Here is a serious governance and how to get out of the property tax plan. And I think one of the onuses on the next governor is to work with the General Assembly in terms of a realistic frame of what can be accomplished. And this plan will be expanded on next week, as the person who is carrying a bill similar to this will be on this show to work through the specifics, who is on Ways and Means, who has the ability to actually push this through. And what I would propose as governor is a 2-year freeze on property tax assessments, with the mandate to the General Assembly to bring a bill that gets out of the property tax game, an elimination of property taxes within the next 4 years. That would center around eliminating property taxes and adding a 5% transaction tax on sales, not with the exclusion of medical and business-to-business transactions. Now, that plan, and this is what serious governance does, it gives actual numbers, and J.D. Prescott will be here next week to back this up, who has spent basically the past year establishing and verifying these numbers, would create somewhere between $8.5 and $10.5 billion annually, which is right in the direct target of what property taxes are currently garnering in the state of Indiana. Don, that is serious governance. That is getting people out of the property tax game. That is funding vital services, police and fire. You haven't provided any of that.
Okay, you are listening to a debate with Rob Kendall and Don Rainwater, who's running as Libertarian for governor in the state of Indiana. And coming up next, we're going to ask questions regarding health care and education. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Occasionally, vice presidential debates are interesting.
Who am I? Why am I here?
Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
Yet,
did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future.
That is a damning non-answer.
Still interesting.
Just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio.
The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check.
Follow the race to the finish line.
Not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times.
On your 2024 election information station, 93 WIBC.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Go now to bwindow.com and receive $400 off per window and $250 off any patio or entry door, plus 2.99% financing.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC happening right now. A debate between WIBC's Rob Kendall and Don Rainwater, who is running for governor on the Libertarian ticket. And we go to education. Rob, this question is for you. Indiana, a leader in school choice and voucher programs. Would you expand school choice options to give parents more control over their children's education? And how would you address criticisms that it diverts funds from public schools?
Yes, absolutely. There is a bill working its way through the General Assembly. It's called Universal School Choice. It would essentially take 90% of the money that is allocated if a kid goes to public education, and it would allow the parent to take that money to a school of their choosing, whether it is a charter school or it is a private school. And that is, anytime we can put parents further in charge of their kids' education, that is a good thing. That argument that it harms public education just doesn't hold water, and I'm sure Don will agree with me on this, because the school is then not having to provide service to the student. If the school isn't having to provide service to the student, then there is no cost associated with that, and technically they're still getting 10% for doing absolutely nothing, so it would be a financial boon for public education. One thing that has to be done, though, is we have to get this idea that these are nonpartisan races out of the public's idea. There are no more partisan races than school board races, and there's only one elected office in the entire state of Indiana, where a person does not have to declare a party affiliation. The coroner has to declare a party affiliation. The surveyor has to declare a party affiliation. And any public education reform should absolutely, without doubt, debate, or discussion, require school board races becoming partisan races like every other race in the state.
Okay, Don, Indiana has implemented various school choice programs, yet data from the National Assessment of Educational Progress shows that only 35% of Indiana's fourth graders are proficient in reading, which is below the national average of 37%. Do you support universal school choice initiatives, and what evidence will you use to measure the success of these programs in raising test scores across the state?
So that's a great question. And first, let me say that I advocate for eliminating state standardized testing. One of the things that I think you just mentioned there supports the idea that, first of all, as Rob mentioned, we do need universal school choice. I would take it a step further. I believe the bill that Rob mentioned limits school choice to schools accredited by the state of Indiana, and I would expand that. If a parent wants to send their child to a school that is not accredited by the state of Indiana, I think that should be included in universal school choice. I also believe that we unfortunately here in Indiana have seen that the more money we flush down the public education toilet, the more money we lose. The problem is that public education in the state of Indiana is a monopoly, and monopolies are bad. We know monopolies are bad, and what we have to do is we have to come together and realize that parents, children, teachers, and local school boards are the best to determine what is best for education, not bureaucrats sitting at 200 West Washington Street in the septic tank over there, but actual parents, teachers, and children need to be able to carve out their destiny and their path. I would disagree with one thing Rob said. Not only do I not want school board races to be partisan, I would seek for the state of Indiana to remove partisan politics from all ballots, all races, do away with the straight ticket voting button, and make voters research the people that they are electing, because we are voting for people, not oligarchies.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, you've got 1 minute. He mentioned your name and said remove party identity from all ballots.
So Don and I share the belief that straight ticket voting should be eliminated. You should not be super lazy and work your way through the ballot. And if you want to leave most of them blank, you're going to be right there with me. We share that. I also believe that Republican and Democrat parties should pick their candidates the way the Democrats or rather the way the Libertarians do, which is privately without taxpayer dollars and at a convention. However, people have the right to know what party you align with, and we have seen in many of these suburban communities radical left Democrats who wouldn't be able to get elected dog catcher if they put a party affiliation next to their name are now not only winning elections, but they're dominating these school boards. They aren't winning anywhere else, but they're winning at the school board level, and I think that's the best way to put a stop to that.
Okay, we've got one more question in this segment, and it is about health care. And Don, we're going to start with you. The question is, there's growing debate over government involvement in healthcare. Healthcare costs in Indiana continue to rise, with many Hoosiers struggling to afford insurance premiums and medical bills. What steps would you take to reduce the influence of large insurance companies in driving up costs, and how would you promote competition in the healthcare market to lower that price?
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's an issue that we really need to take a close look at, because what we've done both federally and in the state of Indiana is we've got way too many regulations that protect the largest corporations, especially in healthcare. We need to understand that what drives up the cost of healthcare is creating these monopolistic opportunities for these large corporations with all of these regulations that they can afford to comply with, knowing that entrepreneurial startup healthcare opportunities may not have that money to be able to comply with those regulations. We need to do a very, very thoughtful analysis of what it is we've done in the state of Indiana legislature to create these monopolies. I believe we need, for one thing, we need more midwives in Indiana. The maternity issues would be much easier to deal with if we had more midwives, if nurse practitioners were able to do more. We restrict the wrong things in the state of Indiana when it comes to health care, and I think we need to open up the free market. Here again, I should have the opportunity to choose for myself what type of health care and how I'm going to pay for it. And I think that there are innovations that can be very beneficial to the market if we would just get the government out of the way.
Okay, Rob, same question. What steps would you take to reduce the influence of large insurance companies in driving up costs throughout Indiana? And how would you promote competition in the healthcare market to lower price?
Well, one thing, that's a great example of why I think it's a crime that Don is not allowed in the debate tonight, because you're probably not going to hear that answer anywhere else, and it sparks a very interesting conversation, which is why we're doing what we're doing here today. And I see so many people commenting on me in the YouTube chat. We're doing this today for Don. We're doing this for you so that you have an opportunity to hear ideas you're not going to hear anywhere else. My views are technically irrelevant because I ain't running for nothing and I ain't on the ballot. But the reality of this is Don is absolutely right. Competition breeds innovation, and competition that breeds innovation will lower costs for people. And the biggest, and maybe we'll get into this after the break, the biggest hindrance to cost, I think, in the state of Indiana is the massive expansion of Medicaid that has taken place in the state of Indiana under the Indiana Republican Party and Eric Holcomb the last several years. There are too many people who have no business being on government-funded insurance. That government-funded insurance does not promote accountability. And then when you have that, you have a lack of interest in what the cost of things are because people aren't paying the tab, and thus costs rise for everyone, including people with private insurance.
Okay, Rob, you still have some time left on the clock, so since you brought it up, I want to ask you about this. Indiana faces a $1.2 billion shortfall in Medicare over the next couple of years, leading to a lot of concerns about sustainability and also quality of care for recipients. So how would you address the shortfall? And in short, what do you do to clean up Holcomb's mess?
Well, you have to have an honest conversation about what took place, especially the last 4 years under Eric Holcomb and the Indiana Republican Party, which was a legalized vote buying effort that kickstarted en masse during COVID. It happened before that, but it started en masse under COVID, by which they put people who were able to work, able-bodied people who were capable of having jobs that would provide insurance, and Eric Holcomb took those people off the worker rolls, needlessly shutting the state down, of which the Indiana General Assembly, dominated by Republicans, 100% went along with, without debate or without discussion, and 4 years later, Holcomb could do it again. So it starts right there. You have too many able-bodied people who are capable of working, who are taking government resources, who do not need it, and it is a real a great example, a horrible example, but a great example, for lack of a better term, of how horribly the state has been run under Holcomb, where now you have people who need the services, people with disabled children who are trying to care for those kids, who are having to make major changes because people who are capable with the ability to pay for insurance have not had to do it.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. We're going to take a news break, get you caught up to date. And when we return, we'll ask questions about gas tax, LEAP project, IEDC, and then also candidate-to-candidate questions. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Arguing guns. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. The first and only VP debate last night, Republican J.D. Vance.
The gross majority, close to 90% in some of the statistics I've seen, of the gun violence in this country is committed with illegally obtained firearms.
Democrat Tim Walz misspeaking in his response.
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it.
He says Republican policies to crack down on school shootings don't go far enough. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Iran will pay for its recent attack. On Tuesday, Iran launched nearly 200 missiles towards Israel in retaliation for the airstrikes in Lebanon that killed a Hezbollah leader. Netanyahu also sending a warning to Lebanon, Syria, Iran, and other countries, saying whoever attacks us, we will attack them. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
$16,500. $16,500.
Is that how much money you're about to give me, Casey?
That's how much money it could cost the average American couple every single year if the Social Security Trust Fund runs out of money.
Multiply that by 10 or 20 years, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's why it's critical you have the right strategy to file for Social Security.
Discover how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy.
We know and trust Bill, and you can too. If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912. This free analysis could help you wring every nickel out of your benefits that are rightfully yours.
Call 317-932-9912. 317-932-9912.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. Roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Are you ready to take control of your safety? Premier Arms is the place to consider, and they're more than just a gun store. Premier Arms is a community for empowered women dedicated to helping you find the perfect firearm. Hey, it's Casey Daniels. That's how I felt when I shopped at Premier Arms. I asked them a lot of questions, and they treated me with respect. And Premier Arms is in Brownsburg. You can also visit them online at premierarms.com. Their phone number, 317-858-3030.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
If you've ever put off dealing with plumbing problems, you don't have to live that way. Maybe you tried to fix a leaky faucet yourself, or you're wishing that slow drain is going to magically start flowing again. Well, it's not. Stop putting things off and call Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. They'll give you honest advice at a fair price, and they leave your home even better than they found it. That's ldsmithplumbing.com. And tell them your second favorite plumber in the whole world, Denny Smith, sent you. ldsmithplumbing.com.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
And happening right now on your radio is a debate between WIBC's Rob Kendall and Donald Rainwater, who is running on the Libertarian ticket for governor of the great state of Indiana. Don, we begin with you with this question, and we head to Boone County. This is in regards to the LEAP project. There are concerns about its impact on local water resources, which are already strained. So how do you plan to balance the plan for economic growth with also the responsibility to address Boone County's water crisis? How would you plan to handle the LEAP project and the water crisis in Boone County?
Well, unfortunately, as we've pointed out there, the worms are already out of the coffee can. Right? We've already got a LEAP project. It's already in existence. They've already tried to take money from Tippecanoe County. Bless the hearts of the folks in Tippecanoe County. They stood up and said, no, not us, not today. And so now we have a utility that is looking at finding a way to provide that water. What we have to do is we have to make sure that when we provide resources, utilities for a project, we're not disadvantaging someone else. All too often what we see today is somebody getting a benefit and somebody else losing. And government should never pick winners and losers. It is not government's purview to do so. And so what we really need to do is we need to get this, first of all, under control, where we understand that private industry and private development should stay private. The government should get out of the business of business. Government is not business. It scares me whenever I hear somebody say, well, the governor should be a CEO. CEOs are adept at driving up revenue in order to create profit. I personally am a project manager by trade, which means I'm given a budget, a list of tasks, and a timetable, and I'm supposed to deliver on time, on budget, a successful project.
All right, Rob, in that same direction, did you want to comment on the LEAP project?
Yeah, I think every Hoosier should be beside themselves that there's a shadow government agency, which that's what Micah Beckwith, the Republican lieutenant governor candidate, called it, that does not have the same reporting requirements, a special carve-out from the legislature that does not have the same reporting and transparency requirements as every other government entity. And we have seen multiple news agencies attempt to get information. They can't get it. You have no idea if this thing is succeeding or not, which means it's not succeeding. And if I were governor of the state of Indiana, I would rip every dollar out of the IEDC until they agree to abide by the reporting requirements that are required for every other government agency. And we shouldn't talk about giving them one more dollar until that's on the table so we can properly evaluate the program.
Well, I think you just answered the next question that was going to be directed towards you, and it was about IEDC. Excessive regulation often cited as a barrier to small business growth. The question was, how would you ensure that the IEDC remains transparent and accountable in its use of taxpayer dollars for corporate incentives? What would your plans be?
Yeah, that's
for
just
the IEDC?
That's just that's complete crap that you can't attract business without special carve-outs for business. Look, I am the greatest municipal tax cutter in the history of the state of Indiana. Nobody cut more taxes than me, and nobody had tighter economic development regulations than me. We made it harder to get things from the government. But you know what we did? We made a better tax climate for everyone, so that businesses wanted to come to our community. We invested our money not in special interest, but in things that benefited business and everyone, like roads and bridges and sidewalks and water and sewer. You can attract business, but you can attract everyone if you create a tax code and a tax climate that is fair and does not favor somebody based on what foreign country they come from or how many bright, shiny objects they'll build.
Okay, Don, we go to you, and we're going to talk about gas tax. Indiana has...
Oh, I don't get to talk about the IEDC?
Do you want to tell us your plans for the question was...
I just want to say, first of all...
What are your plans?
First of all, I agree with Rob 100% on the IEDC. I would take it a step further and say that they shouldn't be getting any taxpayer dollars whatsoever. And I would also say that the same problem we have with the Indiana Economic Development Corporation is the problem we have with every local government that has a redevelopment commission, which has the same issue. They only report to the mayor. They don't have the same reporting requirements to city councils or town councils, and we have way too much money, which is why we have the property tax problem we have, just to make a big circle out of that. That's why they keep raising property taxes, is because they're giving more and more money to these redevelopment commissions. We need to do away with TIF districts and tax abatements in their current usage and clean all that up.
Okay. This question is about gas tax, Don. Indiana, one of the highest gas taxes in the country, currently 34 cents per gallon for state tax, additional 18 cents for federal tax, 52 cents per gallon, contributing to the higher fuel prices for Hoosiers. How do you plan to address the burden of high gas taxes on families and businesses?
Well, actually, let me correct something you said there. In Indiana, Hoosiers pay two separate state taxes on a gallon of gasoline. The first one is the use tax, which is 7% of the average cost of a gallon of gas last month. I know last month it was 20.3 cents per gallon. I don't know what it is this month yet. But then the other is the excise tax, which is 35 cents a gallon. Now, I don't believe that any Hoosier should have to pay two separate taxes to the state of Indiana for the same gallon of gas, or for that matter, for any other product in the state of Indiana. And here again, the response will be, if you do away with the excise tax, which is what I would do, I would ask the General Assembly to abolish the excise tax. How will we pay for the roads? How will we fix the roads? Well, the roads are bad now. They're taxing us to death, and where's the money going? We need, we have a report that Medicaid had $724 million of overbilling, and if you want to know where your Medicaid budget problem is, I'd say that's the start of it right there. And the reality is if Medicaid can get overbilled, don't you think that NDOT maybe is getting overbilled? Maybe we need to take a better look at how we manage the contracts for our roads instead of just constantly throwing money. Here again, I don't know about you folks, but I don't have the money in my bank account to just throw it in the toilet and flush. But that's what we do when we let the state just keep taking and taking and taking.
Do you want to comment on gas tax, Rob?
Well, I think the number one problem here is we have no idea where that money actually goes. And it goes in a big giant pot, and then it gets distributed how they want for what they want. And then they go, well, I guess you don't want the roads fixed. And it is not dollar for dollar what you're paying in tax increases at the pump, as Don talked about, the one of the highest gas taxes in the nation, on top of the sales tax. It's not dollar for dollar going to fix the roads. And if a politician tries to tell you that, you look them directly right in the eye and said, you're lying, you're lying. It's not. So until you have a full audit, and by the way, as someone who has dealt with NDOT, that's like dealing with the mob, okay? As someone who has done road projects with NDOT, they are one of the last groups that should have a blank checkbook without accountability. There needs to be a full audit of NDOT where you can show the public you paid this is what you got for your gas tax increase, and then we can do a fair and honest analysis of how that gas tax is being used.
Well, we had a lot of questions that I don't think we're going to have time to get to. A lot of them regarding criminal justice system, energy costs, infrastructure, also child care costs. But before we turn it over, we're going to take a break and then turn it over to candidate questions. But before we do that, one last quick question for both of you. And Don, we'll start with you. In the next 5 to 10 years, Lucas Oil Stadium will be aged compared to other stadiums. Mitch Daniels was very instrumental in the Lucas Oil business plan. What would your role be in future sports stadiums? Are you willing to let teams walk away from Indianapolis?
Well, first of all, one of the things that I think is very important for us to talk about is getting ballot initiatives, recalls, and referendums here in Indiana. And I think that when you are talking about whether or not we're going to spend taxpayer dollars to upgrade or build a new stadium, that should be taken directly to the voters. I don't think that the governor should be involved in that. I think that we should allow voters to decide, do we want the Colts to stay here? Do we want the type of, do we want Taylor Swift to come to town for 3 nights and do everything that means or not? I don't think that the government should make that decision. I think that should be up to the people.
The reality is that Lucas Oil Stadium is an economic loser. The reality is the renovations to Gainbridge is an economic loser. Now, if you want to, the Super Bowl lost money. We lost money hosting a Super Bowl. What we owe on Lucas Oil Stadium versus what it's brought in, we've lost money. What we owe or have spent on Gainbridge versus what it's brought in, we've lost money. You as a taxpayer facilitating someone else's economic development, primarily in a very confined space in the city of Indianapolis. Now, if you want to say there's a value to the city that you can't put a dollar amount on for hosting a Super Bowl or the NCAA tournament, that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. But we need to start having an honest conversation with the taxpayers of this state about the economic drain in terms of what we owe versus what has been brought in on these sports stadiums. And no, absolutely not going forward. No more taxpayer money. No more taxpayer money for billionaire trust fund kids to have free stadiums.
So are you willing to let teams walk away?
If that's what they're going to do, if that's the threat, where are they going to go? Los Angeles already has 2 teams. They've lost that threat, Casey.
It is the Kendall Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Go to salarmy.us/Indiana EDS. That's salarmy.us/Indiana EDS. From the Salvation Army and WIBC.
Cindy Carrasco has spent a career holding the powerful accountable. As Indiana's Inspector General and Director of the State Ethics Commission, Cindy fought waste, fraud, and abuse wherever she found it. Cindy also combated wrongdoing in state government, which meant standing up and doing the right thing even if it wasn't popular. Now, as our state senator, Cindy Carrasco continues to fight on behalf of all Hoosiers by improving the quality of our children's education, providing tax relief for everyone, and working to make our communities safe by getting law enforcement the resources they need to fight crime, violence, and keep fentanyl away from our families. It's why Cindy has been endorsed by the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police, State Police Alliance, and the Professional Firefighters of Indiana. Because they know that Cindy has their back, and we know she has ours. Vote for more government transparency, better schools, lower taxes, and safer streets. Vote Cindy Carrasco for State Senate.
Paid for by Cindy for Senate.
Friends, it is Wednesday. That means Sunday's going to be here before you know it. And this Sunday, feeling called to something different. It could be a new church home or even a first church home. If that's you, check out Life Church. Over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church. I know. I talk to them all the time. And I'm somebody, my wife is somebody, my family, somebody who has found a home at Life Church. They're warm. They're welcoming. They treat you like so much more than just a number. You're an individual. They care about you, and you got to see it for yourself. Campuses all across central Indiana. Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Awesome online services. Learn more about everything. LifeChurchIN.com.
Truck drivers, are you tired of missing out on valuable time at home? At Midwest Logistics Systems, you can find a local dedicated job that gets you home every day. Plus, we offer predictable Monday through Friday schedules with occasional Saturdays. As an MLS driver, you'll haul 100% no-touch freight, earn performance and safety bonuses, and have access to full benefits. Don't wait. Upgrade your driving job today. Search jobs and apply now at MidwestLogisticsSystems.com. That's MidwestLogisticsSystems.com.
Denny Smith here. The big fall sale at Sundown Gardens is still happening. Save 20 to 50% off trees and shrubs, 50% off herbaceous perennials and pottery. Take advantage of great fall planting weather and save 20 to 50% on trees now at Sundown Gardens. The nursery's full of great selections and the greenhouse is bursting with great local grown mums, pumpkins, and all your needs for fall decorating. Sundown Gardens is located at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com.
Mecum Auctions returns to Indianapolis October 3rd to the 5th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience with 1,000 vehicles up for auction. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, Mecum Auctions is for you. Register to bid and buy spectator tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers' rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Join WIBC this Saturday for the Home and Garden Show live from Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan at 114th and Allisonville Road from 9 to 1. Celebrate fall and book a ride on the Sullivan Express train to Pumpkintown with Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan and 93 WIBC.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC, taking place right now, a debate between WIBC's Rob Kendall and Donald Rainwater, and this is the candidate-to-candidate question portion of the debate. Is there something that you would like to ask Rob Kendall?
There is. Rob, I've heard you on numerous occasions talk about the fact that, I don't have a chance because I can't raise money. And I understand the difficulties because I am the candidate that has only raised about $110,000 from, good people here in the state of Indiana. But I guess my question is, do we really want a governor in the State House who we know gets his money from people who expect quid pro quo, and therefore we end up with a governor who doesn't represent the people, just special interests? Is that really what we want?
Okay, so I guess I was going to kind of have this conversation with him, and I want to give him time for his closing statement. So real quick, it's not just the money, Don. It's the Libertarian Party has not grown in this state over the last 4 years in terms of organization, in terms of ability to be competitive. And look, I never had more fun than I did in 2020 running around with you. And Casey will vouch for this about how long it took me to make a choice. The reality is Braun's going to be the next governor. I think it's crap he got kicked off the stage, but I felt supporting Mike Braun and trying to give him a mandate was the best chance to fix property taxes. It may blow up in my face. I always make the choice that I think is best, and I think the Libertarian Party has not lived up to the gift it was given in 2020.
All right, Rob, do you have a question?
Well, he kind of touched on it. I want to give him time to closing statement. I want to have a closing statement. So, Don, go ahead. Or am I going first?
No, let's let him go. He's our guest.
Or do you want to go last?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, yeah. All right, so real quick, I just want to say thanks to Don for coming in. I want to thanks to Casey for doing this, and Kevin did a great job, kind of messed up his schedule. We did this today because Don deserves to be heard. We did this today because it's ridiculous that a guy that's going to get hundreds of thousands of votes is not included in a debate. It's ridiculous that both Jennifer McCormick and Mike Braun didn't demand Donald Rainwater's participation in this debate. So tonight, remember, when you watch that debate between the two of them, and I hope everybody does, remember there's somebody who should be up there who's not, and in all future debates, everybody should be able to be heard. I'm glad we were able to do this. Look, I'm not running for anything, right? We did this because this guy deserves to be heard. We thought this was more entertaining than just a simple interview, and that's why we did this today.
All right, Don, you have 1 minute. Closing statement. Go ahead.
1 minute. So, first of all, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to do this today. It's always entertaining and fun to be here with you guys. And real quickly, I just want to tell all of the folks out there, if you're not happy with the fact that I'm not on the debate stage tonight, don't watch the debate. Come to Franklin College. If you go to my Facebook page, there's an event that I've shared there. I will be at Franklin College at 6 o'clock this evening for a town hall, for a voter meet and greet. Come out and see me. Let's talk about how we can make Indiana less taxing for all Hoosiers and how we can get all of these special interests out of the governor's office so that Indiana government works for each and every one of us.
All right, Don, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for us today.
Real quick, everybody needs to know you did a phenomenal job with this. She put way more effort into this than I did, and you did a great job today, Casey.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Thanks, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. This has been the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Attention all Hoosiers. A historically important election is headed our way. The time to prepare for the election is now. Are you registered to vote? Do you have a plan to vote? The Indiana Secretary of State's office wants to remind you, registering to vote or updating your registration is fast, easy, and can be done online at indianavoters.com. You must be registered 30 days before Election Day, so get registered and get out to vote. This message is sponsored by the Indiana Secretary of State's office.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to